This episode of the Esoteric Order of Roleplayers is brought to you by the generosity of our backers on Patreon. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and
Instagram.
And visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/esotericrp to find out how you can become a backer too. The Esoteric Order of Roleplayers present A Matter of Cornwall, a King Arthur Pendragon campaign, with David Larkins as the Game Master.
Shit.
We are playing Pendragon again.
Oh my god.
We're recording now?
We are recording
Yes.
now.
Oh, okay.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Hello, happy 2020.
Yeah.
2020.
I also have a media recommendation.
Oh, yeah? What you got?
Go ahead.
Dude, if you like musicals and you like funny musicals, if you're not watching Gallivant on Netflix,
Yeah. Yes,
you
I
have
started.
to watch it.
Yeah.
Gallivant is fucking hilarious. It still holds up. We watched it when it first came out, and then we watched it. Like, we're watching it again now, and it is still so hilarious. So if you like silly musicals that are funny and snarky, it's so wicked at
And
times.
Pendragon adjacent.
It is Pendragon
You know,
adjacent. That's
it's
why I brought it up.
it's a fairy tale spoof.
Yeah, so it's really fun. Highly recommend Gallivant.
Yep, amusing.
So watch it or we won't get your references.
No, I won't be. I don't think there'll be any really. It's just a medieval,
It's
semi-medieval, funny
It's
thing.
so funny.
Alan Menken and
I've
whoever
watched
his current partner is.
3 or 4
Yeah.
episodes.
It's really, really enjoyable.
Get the idea.
All right. Any other things people want to recommend or comment on? No. Oh, okay. Well,
The Witcher show is a lot of fun.
You know
Of course,
what?
everyone's already watching it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Like, more fun than I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me in the best possible way of Hercules and Xena.
Oh, somebody
really?
said that.
Yeah.
Someone said that.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
have
like,
started
better
it 100
production value.
times. Yeah.
Somebody said if you miss somebody said Witcher is the show for people who miss Game of Thrones and Xena.
I'm sure there's a Venn
diagram of that.
And I feel
I
that.
fit in that category.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Right
You know,
here.
the first episode was hard. I just drank more wine.
Oh.
And then episode 2, I was
better?
drunker, and also it was great. 'Cause my expectation was like, oh, I'm watching Hercules or Xena,
Right.
not watching Game of Thrones.
Right.
Exactly.
Also, I heard that the first episode's very hard to follow because it's non-chronological, but they don't use like timestamps to tell you what's
You know,
going on.
Exactly.
So you have to kind of, piece it
Most
together.
of the first season is non-chronological,
Non-chronological.
but it
But
actually,
then
if
you
you just
figure
like
it out,
let it
right?
wash over
Yeah.
you, like a wave of muscular white-haired men.
It's harder for me. It's infuriating, but
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
what
time,
we
I'll still watch it because it's
I
fun.
actually liked that.
I just know when all this is happening, so it's like, no, that's not supposed to go there. That's like earlier.
Oh no, I was trying to describe it to Alexander, and he was like, "But that's not." And I was like, "Shh, shh, shh."
Oh god.
Drink this wine.
I know. Well, he had never read Game of Thrones, so when I tried to be like that during the show with him, he was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It doesn't matter."
In any case, that's my recommendation.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay.
And everyone's apparently, I don't know. It's the what everyone's talking
people
about.
are
these
into
days.
it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Even if they hate it, they're still watching it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hate
I hate watching. Yeah.
I'm
It's
about
a
it.
thing.
Okay,
Mad
so
Men. Oh.
here we go.
Shall we do
Indeed.
this?
Welcome to Character Generation.
Welcome to Character Generation. So,
Yes.
as I believe I have mentioned, and if I haven't mentioned it, I apologize.
Wait, what's your name again?
Hi, I'm David. I'm the Game master.
Are you flirting with me?
And I'm also the line editor for the King Arthur Pendragon role-playing game.
Oh! Now
Which
he's
means
flirting.
you lucky people are going to benefit from my access to unreleased material. Starting with the revised Book of Knights and Ladies.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not the only one impressed with that.
Hey, that's fine. You're the one who's married to me.
That's true. I hear about this all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's been 7 years.
That's true.
Oh, good point.
Anyway, so yeah, we're using the revised edition of the Book of Knights and Ladies,
Cool.
which would be called Knights and Ladies Adventurous. But anyway,
I love that name.
thank you. Which includes expanded rules for playing ladies, including expanded solo options for ladies during winter phase.
Yay.
Also includes rules for playing squires or even playing pages.
Yeah.
Although we're not going to go that far back, but
Oh.
we're gonna have you all start as squires. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
And ergo, we're going to go with the earlier start time of 480. Normally, the Great Pendragon Campaign starts in 485, but the Book of Uther introduced the option of starting in 480.
Okay.
So basically, by the time y'all are hitting knighthood, we'll be hitting 485, essentially.
So we're starting at 16 or 15?
16-ish or...
Well, it's kind of up to you.
Or
You could
13?
start as early as 14.
Oh my.
Oh, 14.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
I'll start then. Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
gonna
like
start
a
there.
certain unstated game where you need to have a certain stats before you can be promoted to knighthood?
There are certain minimums, yes.
Okay.
They're not
Okay.
too hard to hit.
Alright. Without
Are there-
naming names or anything, obviously.
Sure,
Yeah.
Are there benefits or detriments to, I don't know, choosing a younger age? Besides, just having more years as getting knight treated?
Yeah, you just get more years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to not start super young.
No.
Okay.
Alright, 12 it is.
Apart from 14 being the minimum. So we'll get
sort
into
of
that.
post-pubescent.
Yes.
Okay.
We're also going to be using the Book of Sires, which has extensive family history tables. So we're going to learn a little bit about our setting as we work through those.
Huzzah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yes. Now, and the family history tables are broken up by region, and they are written subjectively. So if you were from region A, you might have a different view of how King so-and-so perpetrated such and such an event versus the person from region B.
I love it.
So,
It's like World of Darkness.
yeah, exactly. What's true, what's not.
Okay, are we all related to each other? How does that begin?
So this is something you can decide right now. The campaign is going to be set in Cornwall. You are going to be squires of knights of Duke Gorlois' household in
Gorlois.
in Tintagel Castle. So it's like, primo
Yep,
Arthurian
Right
stuff.
there, man.
we are right there.
All right, you're gonna be right there.
I mean, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Indeed. So that means you can be Cornish, of course. You can be from Brittany. Okay.
Brittany, really?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Cornwall and Brittany are like this.
BFFs.
They're, two regions separated by a
Just a
channel.
little bit of water, yeah.
If you want, you can be from a region outside of that, but those would be the two core homelands. Within Cornwall, so Brittany and Cornwall both have Cymric cultural,
Okay.
choices. You could be Cymric. If you're from Brittany and you want to be from one of the old Roman towns, you could be Roman, of course. If you're from Cornwall, you can be Cymric. Or, if you want, there's actually a small sort of vestigial population of Picts.
Yes! We have a winner.
Such a pixie.
They're called the Gigant Picts. They were brought down to serve as federati, defending against Irish raiders by Constans, and they just kind of stayed in the area. So you can be Pictish, you can be a Pictish Christian or a Pictish heathen.
Interesting. Layers and layers.
Layers and layers. And then, of course, there's if you're Cymric, you can be British Christian or British pagan if you're from Tintagel, actually, or Christian as well from that same area. And then, of course, if you're Roman, you would be Roman Christian. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Any luck on getting those multiple types of pagans into in circulation?
It's just pagan and heathen
Okay.
for now.
I appreciate that at least there's still the distinction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't
heathen
have
is
to be Saxon and heathen.
right. Oh yeah, that's true. There's also Wotanic Saxons. So.
So we need to pick like what we're gonna play, like in terms of culturally, basically in this area. That's what you're
Yes.
saying right now.
Then those were the choices.
What
So
are
I
you
hope
thinking about?
I have got my choices
What do you want?
already.
What are you gonna play? Wait.
I am from Tintagel.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be Cymric, Cornish, British pagan.
I'll do the same. We'll do the same thing.
Yep.
We want to play siblings.
Yep.
Oh okay.
Love it.
We'll give it a go.
Yeah,
Okay.
The Brothers Gibb.
that's right. Oh my fucking god!
Why not?
What? I don't even need to ask that.
And if you're like squires, then you're like the giblets.
Oh my god.
And we're off.
It's right to self.
Good
All
job.
right,
Jade?
that's a new T-shirt right there.
All right, cool.
Oh boy.
I love this so much. I think it's hot water. I think the
It
water's
sounded
hot
like it
already.
went hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did boil, so you're good.
Yeah.
And you could flip it off and it'll be fine. Yeah, it's super easy to use. So,
Is that all square with
well,
you?
yeah, that's perfect.
Alright,
So
fine.
name what it is again, so I can get it all down.
We're from Tintagel.
Right.
Cymric, Cornish,
Okay.
British pagan.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
If you want to really add to that, your starting tribe is the Dumnonii or Dumnonii.
Okay.
That
What
is
is that?
Dumnonii.
Oh,
Spell
hold on,
again.
wait, wait.
Dumnonii.
N-O-N-I-I. What are they? What is that all about?
That's your tribe. That's the tribe of Cymric people that you're descended from.
Love it. I like the specificity. That's cool.
Jade, I assume you're doing a
Picked.
course I
heathen
am.
picked.
Of course I am.
Okay. So yeah, you are.
What's my size? Small. Do I care?
No.
Awesome.
And Renae, I assume you're from Brittany.
Yes, I am.
Are we so easy to read?
I
After all this time.
I know you.
So do I have options other than Roman Christian?
No.
Okay. Oh, just checking.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, you have British Christian or Roman Christian.
Oh,
Those are your
okay.
choices.
Oh, British Christian.
Okay, so that means you're Cymric. And so you can be from Vanite or Domnonier. Sounds related.
Yeah.
Or Cornwall.
When was?
I mean, I do so well
Is
with
there
normal
anyone-
French. Britannic French I should do really well with. Anyway,
Do you happen to know where they are on the map? Oh, okay.
let me
Oh.
grab a map of Brittany.
Can I? Okay, never mind.
Let me see here. Yeah, no, please correct me.
No, it's okay.
No, please. It's going to come up a lot, so
Wait, what's going to come up? The name?
the names, yeah.
Pronunciation?
My massacring of the
No, you
It's like Paladin all over again.
Oh,
In the best way.
Oh gosh.
There's the map.
Ooh, further west would be best.
Okay.
Let's see.
So,
And Shimp, what are you thinking of?
Renae, you said you're going to be a British Christian or a Roman Christian?
British. Could I be from Brest? Like, is that Cornwall?
room from our giblets.
More giblets?
Yeah.
Really?
Come on.
Oh my god,
Be
giblet
the runs of the
triplets.
litter?
No,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
No. Oh, okay.
If you want.
To be fair, I did random roll British pagan, so.
Giblet.
All right.
Welcome to the
Giblet.
family.
Giblets.
Giblets, giblets,
giblets.
Go.
If not, that's okay. It's no big deal. It's just that I've
The
been there.
littlest of the giblets.
That's where I used to spend summers.
I see.
Yeah.
This is the weest gib.
Leon is not available.
All right,
so.
lay
Okay.
our
Okay.
lay our lineage on me.
We're from Tintagel. Cymric, Cornish, British pagan.
Yeah.
Dumnoni. Dumnonii.
All right.
So I can pick from this list, right?
Yes.
So
Okay.
you don't play Bernard?
So
Dumb on.
Barry.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't even get
I
me started.
visited
Want
one
to be Barry?
before.
I'll arm wrestle you.
No, you're
And,
no,
someone
you're Barry.
Oh,
It'll be Andrew.
how funny. So that would be
What are
a
you gonna
Roman
do?
though.
Okay.
If you're from the city
it's
proper,
Barry,
but if
Barry-
you're from
Barry
that
Gibb.
area,
Barry Gibb,
Andrew.
Andrew
Vanity.
Gibb,
Uh-huh.
Livesey Gibb.
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
God, we're funny.
I know we are.
did you just do the Bee Gees?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're the brothers Gibb,
Yeah,
goddammit.
that's right. We're the Giblets.
Okay.
We don't know what order. No, but you were already saying you want to be younger.
You want to be Robin?
I'm sure I'll be the youngest.
Yeah. Robin.
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
so Von
Robin.
Tide will be
Von
great.
Von
Yeah.
Tide.
We could call you
Von Tide,
Robin
yeah.
for short.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Robin
good
is very
to
short for Livesey.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Von Tide, y'all.
We're gonna have fun if it's the last
Damn it, we will have a fuck ton of fun. God damn it.
There will always be one of us at this table.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right.
That's right.
All right.
Nothing goes past the Gibbs.
All right.
Cut of your gib.
See, this can go on for years.
I know.
Yeah.
Years. You're gonna be paying for mercy.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I already know.
Yeah, I hate this.
All right,
God
God
damn it.
Fuck you guys.
I told you we were gonna play siblings or giblings.
Giblings.
Oh,
Oh my god.
yes.
This is beautiful.
This is a nightmare.
Unfolding
Horrifying nightmare.
in a way it's got too much momentum to ever stop.
There's no escape.
It's an
it up.
avalanche. Give it up.
Yes.
These are the Jagan ticks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they're
I was gonna say
Cornish.
give it to God.
But we're paying.
They are from Jagant.
Oh shit,
Okay,
the
so
gods.
should I put that as
Give it to God.
That is your homeland.
Oh my god.
Your starting tribe is the Jagant Picts.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know. Tribe is just kind of an emotional thing. Let me read it to you from the book. So first we have the Cornish.
Yeah.
My son, we are of one people, but two branches, separated in the fall of Troy long ago. And while we have shared many trials and tribulations since, we still trace our descent from our greatest hero, Corinius.
Okay.
Corinius was our king in those past times. Corinius was sober-minded, wise in counsel, great in courage and audacity. No man could defeat him in martial feats, and his strength was such that he could wrestle with giants, throwing them as if they were merely boys. When Brutus and his followers sailed to our shores, they carried with them a prophecy of a great nation they would build on an island in the Atlantic Ocean, a place where the sons of Troy would rise again.
Oh boy.
Brutus begged Corinius and his people to join in this destiny, and such was his passion that it convinced Corinius and our ancestors. We sailed around Hispania and landed in Aquitaine for supplies. The inhabitants of that land made war upon us.
Yep.
However, Corinius inflicted such slaughter upon them with his battle axe that they fled in terror from him, causing him to exclaim, Where are you making for, you cowards? Where are you running to, you slackers?
Wow, so he's just reading them for filth while
was.
Yep.
they're spanking them.
Turn back, I say, and do battle with Corinius. Shame on you. You are so many thousands, and yet you run away from me, who is just one. Take at least this comfort in your flight, that it is I, Corinius, who is after you. I, who often drive in confusion before me the giants of earth, thrusting them down to hell.
Ooh.
We gathered rich spoils and new supplies from Aquitaine, and then set sail again. Finally, the fleet reached this island called Albion, after the king of the giants that Hercules slew. Giants still lived here, and we made war upon them until they withdrew to remote regions of the island. Corinius delighted in wrestling with the giants, and threw one of them, Gog Magog, off a cliff now known as Gog Magog's Leap.
Cool.
Corinius received for his share the peninsula named after himself, Cornwall, and settled it with his followers.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
The hard land produced a hard people. Over time, we grew too numerous, and strife was looming.
Sure.
Rather than kill one another, we split into two tribes, Cornovii and Dumnonii. Cornovii, carrying their heritage in their name, migrated northward into Cambria, while we stayed in Cornwall.
Yeah.
When the Romans came after King Lucius's death, we saw that more could be gained from cooperating with the Romans, and in return they left us alone. Just one fortress they built, at Exeter, but otherwise we continued with our old ways. Perhaps the Romans were afraid of the giants that still roam our moors and hills. Thus we remained a free people, and cared little when the Romans left for good. We Dumnonii follow our own king, answering only to the high king, not the king of Logris.
Right. Right.
The other Kimry call us Cornishmen, after our land and our founder, and we take pride in that name too.
All right.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
Thank you.
love it.
All right.
And I'll just say that Cornish legends recount the deeds of Corinius and how he slew hundreds of men and scores of giants with his great battle axe. They speak of its heavy double-headed blade of gleaming hardened bronze and the haft crafted from a giant's bone.
Whoa.
Only Corinius was able to wield the massive weapon with ease. In the centuries since then, the battle axe has been lost and may lie forgotten in an ancient tomb, in the hoard of a dragon, in the treasure vault of the king of the sea giants, or anywhere else.
Anywhere
Sea
else.
giants?
I know.
Yes.
That's a whole other
Sea giants, you say.
conversation.
Let's
Sea
give us a
giants
boat.
is that where we start playing Myrmidon?
And then we have the Jagant Picts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the people. We live in harmony with this land, yet we did not start here. So listen, my son, as I tell you of our ways and how they differ from those of the outsiders. Our ancestors traveled far, beginning in Scythia. They lived in Hispania and then Ireland, but each time many people left these new lands to find the best place for us to live. Cruithne, our leader and the father of the Picts, brought the men here to our final homeland and reigned for 100 years. King Cruithne divided the land into 7 areas, named after each of his 7 sons. 7 sons of Cruithne, then, into the 7 divided Alban, Kate, Kay, Kirig, a warlike clan, Fib, Fidak, Fotla, Fortren. Our ancestors at first had no women among them.
What?
They
Wait,
returned
What?
What?
How did that
the
work?
Brotherhood of Bowls.
How the hell did that work?
Well, they're blue.
Yeah, they are.
And they are about 3 apples high. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God, you're right.
And they live inside mushrooms.
Oh my god!
It's all just a metaphor.
Yep.
They returned. Oh my God, the
Nothing new.
Smurfs were the Picts all along.
Yes,
Cracked it
they
wide
are.
open.
Yep. Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
They returned to Ireland, where they captured many, until at last the Irish agreed to send us 300 women, as long as we chose a king from the female royal line instead of the male during any dispute that arose.
Oh.
Cruithne, son of Cuig, took their women from them. It is directly stated, except Tea, I suppose, wife of Hermion, son of Miled. There were no charming noble wives for their young men, their women having been stolen. From the south, the descendants of Brutus made war upon us, for they did not share this island willingly. Many died on both sides before there was peace. The land would be ours as long as we would accept the king of the Britons. However, when his line died with King Lucius, we became free once more. When Rome came to subdue us, we fought so hard that they built a wall to keep them safe. Having accomplished that, they tried another wall further north, and that one we broke.
Oh.
The walls did not stop us when we wanted to cross them. Rather, the walls protected us from Roman attacks. Anytime we wanted to, we would go south and return with trophies, game, and wealth.
Oh.
Wow.
We became the land, and the land became us. Everything is a gift to us, and we are the stewards. Our life has been varied, specializing in 6 feats of activity: hurling weights, running, leaping, swimming, wrestling, and riding; 4 exercises of weapons: archery or javelin throwing, sword and buckler, and quarterstaff; 3 rural sports: hunting, fishing, and hawking; and 4 board games: Tafel, Fidchil, Branduv, and Tablut, and more. We live in harmony and balance. In return, the land protects us, as our tattoos prove. We trace our lineage through our women, with kingship conferred upon the son of the last king's sister, as agreed by our ancestors. Sons are not raised by their fathers, but by foster fathers. Our wise Phoesaces of old, our soothsayer, told us a terrible prophecy. One day we would have a choice given to us by a dragon. To accept his protection, we would have to travel far to a new land, rich in trees and game. We could fish, farm, or hunt to our content. Both riches and glory would be ours, but in the midst of the dragons who are jealous. Half will perish, but the other half will be given even greater glory.
Wow. That's really rich.
That is.
All right. The richness flows.
Oh my
So, let's see. I'm going to need bookmarks.
That's a no.
Flip back and forth.
I know. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's how he got into Juilliard.
Oh my God.
What?
What?
We're just looking at you shaking our damn heads.
All right. Just
What else do you
marking
expect?
the 2 timelines here.
All right.
So the Picts are folded into the Cornish timeline, but some events are Pictish and some events are not. So that is on that page, and then Brittany is a separate. Okay. So, you'll all see that you have a second page of family history.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to start with your grandfathers.
Wait a minute. Are we not hearing the Brittany part for Renee's
Yeah.
character?
Well, Brittany is kind of part of the Cornish history there. Okay,
Okay.
but I'm going to give you some data on Brittany here.
Okay.
Okay.
The peninsula of Brittany has more in common with the island of Britain than with the continent. British blood has forged Brittany, and Breton blood has been poured out to save Britain. Ships sail back and forth between Brittany and Britain, carrying settlers, warriors, poets, holy men, and kings. The waters separating Brittany from Cornwall are less a sea than a road, and the stretch of land joining Brittany to Soissons, northern France, is more a chasm than a bridge.
Oh.
Over the tapestry of years, Britons have flocked to Brittany, sometimes called Armorica. Romano-British general Maxen Vladig led his followers from Britain to the continent to seize victory and power over Rome, and for a time flew as high as the greatest of Roman eagles. Maxen Vladig gave the first land secured on the continent to his cousin-in-law, Conan Mariotic. When Maxen Vladig was ultimately slain, his sons and followers found refuge with Conan in his new land, Vanitae, the oldest of Brittany's kingdoms. Aldronius, Maxen's son, became king when Conan died. News of the kingdom's success spread, and Britons flocked to Brittany's shores. Since then, fate has oft interwoven the threads of Brittany and Britain. The verdant land of Brittany is fertile and productive. The waters lapping its shores serve as a defense, as well as a source of food and means of commerce. Bretons are blessed with rich harvests from both field and sea. A knight of Brittany must be accomplished on the field of battle, even when the field is a heaving ship's deck. Unlike many of their Cymric counterparts in other lands, Bretons do not look on the sea with fear, but with a weather eye on opportunity. While Cymri largely populate Brittany, Brittany's culture is not merely a copy of Britain's. Due to Brittany's proximity to the former Roman Empire, more of the Cymri of Brittany follow the Roman Christian faith than their British counterparts. That is true.
All right.
Back to it. What were we saying? Brittany.
Brittany.
The Romans.
Brittany, bitch.
They liked. I had to do it.
Yes!
Anyway.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
There's more Roman Christians. And Brittany has managed to stir into the energetic Cymric culture a seasoning of continental flair, giving polish to its Cymric rough edges. But for all the Breton sophistication, they have kept the practicality and industriousness of their island counterparts. A Breton knight is expected to manage his lands for his lord, play the harp in his lord's hall, and fight at his lord's command, all with equal skill and finesse.
Woof!
Damn.
In fact, the finesse and beauty of some Bretons is the subject of whispers in other lands.
Wait,
What?
they're
What?
Their
Like
finesse
their
and
app?
beauty, I guess, yeah.
oh, okay.
Shit, this is
All
for
right.
you. Yeah.
Some claim that their long association with the sea has led to Breton dalliances with the fairy folk, rumored to live in the waves. Others say
They're
that
fucking
whatever
mermaids, basically. What's going on?
others say that whatever spirits dwell in the enchanted Brocéliande forest have taken noble babes from their cradles and replaced them with fairy changelings.
Wow.
Regardless, the blood of fairies is rumored to flow in the veins of many a Breton noble. For their part, Bretons rarely comment on such tongue-wagging and instead let their deeds on and off the battlefield speak for themselves.
Classic.
All right.
And Cornwall, just a little additional piece here. Cornwall is the westernmost part of southern Britain. It consists of Ascalon, Lyonesse, Tintagel, Totnes, and sometimes Jagent. The Cornishman's world is one where neither the ancient British nor Rome ever fully conquered the area due to its relative infertility, its extensive moors, and a profusion of fantastic creatures.
Oh, yeah.
Nonetheless, when the Romans selected their first British Senate, also called the Supreme Collegium, it still held 3 of the 28 seats, placing it far from the original footing that Quirinius held with Brutus.
Okay.
The Irish were the most common raiders throughout the region and had established a land settlement as well. The countryside of Cornwall is well populated with moors and treacherous pathways. Surprisingly, many fantastic creatures can be found here as well as the most famous of them all, giants. When Brutus and Cornelius arrived, these creatures were many, but over the years have decreased as the Cymri, especially Cornishmen, have hunted them.
Right.
Many have wondered if the other side lies close to Cornwall, as mysterious events have always happened.
Cool.
And Jagant Picts. The north is the modern-day Scotland. During the time of the Roman Empire, 2 walls were established to wall off the hostile Picts. The southern one, Hadrian's Wall, proved successful and allowed 4 tribes to entrench themselves north of it. The second wall, the Antonine Wall, was later built north of them, but was abandoned. The area of the north includes all walls north of Hadrian's Wall, so both of these areas are considered under one heading, but separated by culture. Between the walls, Antonine and Hadrian, were the British tribes. Further north were the Picts. Theirs was a world where Rome had never conquered. This was a land of tribes who were constantly raiding, skirmishing, and warring. Your character comes from a Pictish tribe which moved south to Jagant on Constan's decree, based on Vortigern's advice, to fight against the Irish in Cornwall in exchange for rich woodlands. The Jagant Picts have been civilized by the continued content with a higher culture of Logris, but are still distinct from the Britons. Although the Picts use a tribal structure in which the age of majority is 15, because the Jagant Picts move south very early and assimilate for the most part to Cymry customs, we ignore the differences in this book. Okay, so all of that out of the way, let's get into it. So, what you're going to do is, this is like the family history bits that we've done for RuneQuest, that we've done for Pendragon in the past. You've got your grandfather. Grandfather was born in 413. We just assume for the sake of sanity, everybody's
413.
Everyone's
Okay.
grandfather is born at the same time.
Fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then your grandfather married at 21 in 434. Or sorry, was knighted in 434. Married the following year. Okay.
Okay.
Your father was born in 438. Ergo,
Oh wait,
What?
father was born
1948. In 438.
430. Okay.
438. So ergo, we begin in 439 because that way that guarantees that your dada was born. So, and then you'll just jot down important events as they happen. You'll be generating glory and other things as well. So let's see. So you've all got your born, knighted, and married years for your grandfather. Your father's born year. Final glory, obviously, will have to wait. Homeland is the same as yours.
Right.
Tintagel.
Tintagel, if you will. Either way. All right. So we start with 439. So I'm going to read the entries for both regions. Sometimes they'll interweave. Sometimes they won't.
All right.
So in Cornwall in 439,
Yep.
you don't have to write all this down. The
Okay.
space is just to write down what happened to your grandfather. So I'll just say the Irish raid.
Well,
The giant
it has
causes-
important events and family events.
Well, you can write down whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just saying you don't have to write all of this down.
Right.
Okay, so the Irish raid. A giant causes local problems,
Sure.
and the High King leads us into battle.
All right.
In the far north, there is intertribal disputes, resulting in bloodshed. And then in Brittany, in 439, King Aldronius sends troops to help the Romans curb the Aquitanian aggression in Septimania. Yeah! Good evening, we're Septimania! General Latorius battles the Aquitanians oh my goodness, Edie. At the Battle of Toulouse, where he is captured and later dies. Aetius, Magister Militum, supreme commander of the Western Roman Empire, takes an army to Aquitaine and defeats the Aquitanians in a battle. King Richilla of Suebi invades Roman Lusitania and captures Merida. The Vandals sack Carthago. A lot of things going on,
Yeah.
aka fall of the Roman Empire. So, let's all get D20 rolls, please. No modifiers.
Well, it says Jen and I have the same grandfather, right?
Yes.
That is true.
So we should take turns rolling that d20.
You should take
Alright.
turns.
You go first, Jen.
All right.
Okay, so
I rolled a
we're
I'll
back.
Check later.
And you
Oh,
rolled a
okay.
20.
I'll check
Yeah.
later. It's
Okay.
fine.
You rolled a 20.
Yeah.
All right. Your grandfather fought at the Battle of Carlion.
Okay.
So we'll put a pin in that.
Right.
Jade, how'd you do?
12.
An encounter with a cattle raiding party from another tribe turns heated. People are slain on both sides. Gain 20 glory.
Ooh.
And Renae?
This is year 439, right?
Correct.
Okay. It
I got
Oh,
a 10.
that's a 10. Okay. Joined General Latorius. Roll on Battle of Toulouse. So we had lots of battles going on.
Yeah.
Could have been at the Battle of Carleon along with.
On the other side.
Oh, sure. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Just like the whole game.
Yeah, that's fine.
17?
Battle of Toulouse.
Alright.
Survived and went home. And you are going to generate. Well, roll 1d6 for me.
Okay. Went home, and then D6.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use my amazing new dice.
Ooh.
Nice. Hey, there you go. It's already paying off.
Yeah, thanks.
Really? A 6?
So, granddad.
Or yeah, 6. I mean,
A 9. Wow,
oh,
that's a
that
hell of a
is
die.
kick in.
You
Sorry.
need some Coke.
Yeah,
Coffee isn't gonna do it.
Yes, no, it's not.
I'm going to start a new
How pedestrian.
Patreon rewards here for cocaine.
Moon rocks.
Help
I should
keep
just
us
get
in
the
coke.
instant coffee and just dump it in my mouth. Like, why am I
Why?
mixing it?
I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit between the cheek and gum.
There you go.
Yeah. So your
Oh, God.
your granddad got 90 glory out of that.
90 glory! Wow.
Badass.
So this was Romans, Bretons, and Huns
Oh my god.
under General Latorius versus Aquitanians under Kings Theodoric and Lancelot.
Wow.
Old school Lancelot.
Right.
Oh, I was gonna say. what
Granddad Lancelot. He's not that long lived.
Huh?
And then we had Who Wants to Roll for your grandfather at the Battle of
I'll
Carleon?
do it. You're
Jen.
busy.
Jen,
Oh, what is it? D6?
D20.
you're right.
13.
This is, by the way, British under High King Constantine versus Irish under a local chieftain. And you said 13?
I did.
Okay, survived. Who wants to roll the d6 for glory?
I will. 5.
5, eh?
So it's not an 8.
Shut it.
That is 150
down.
glory.
No.
150 glory.
150
Alright.
glory.
Well, wait, well, this is your 440, right?
439.
Oh, still 439.
For Grandpa.
This is
Oh.
the Battle of Carleon.
I got that. I wrote it down.
And
That's
who
it. This
wants
is
to
still
roll
it.
to see if Grandpa generated a passion?
Oh, I guess I will.
Yeah,
What am
you
I
do.
Do
rolling?
something.
What die?
D20.
D30. It's a 51.
7?
Yeah, I'm not living it down. At least
All
not
right.
this session.
Not this
Yeah, we'll forget. We'll forget.
Yeah, no.
So
We will.
Grandpa picked up a hate Irish passion
Alright.
What? We do?
at 3d6.
Wow.
Alright, I'll do.
D6 each?
Yeah.
D6
let's-
each.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. I have a 5.
1.
1.
6.
And
Jen?
then Jen, you roll a d6.
Were they throwing a D6?
Yeah, for 3d6 hate.
You thought
for
this was going to be
Irish.
easy, Jen.
4.
So
10 total.
10 hate.
And Grandpa always used to say, "Damned Irish, it's about time we paid them back for all those years of raiding."
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
10. That's what he would say all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know he did.
Yeah, I
He
remember.
hated them Irish.
He did
hated him.
so much.
Something fierce.
Yeah.
So Grandpa told me on my wedding day,
Fuck the Irish.
Fuck you.
never trust an Irishman.
But my bride was Irish, so
Oh no.
I don't know if that was.
Mm.
He didn't come, he just left it like daggered to your
Oh.
scroll.
All right, year 440 in
Here
Cornwall.
we go.
During this year, King Constantine is murdered by one of his own guards,
Oh!
an Artrabates knight. Meanwhile, the Irish extend their holdings in Demete lands. In Jagant, the Irish invasion overwhelms the local inhabitants. In the far north, the blood spilt last year continues, and other tribes are becoming involved. Your tribe is held to be at fault.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
Typical.
And in Brittany, Frisian raiders make it as far west as Brittany's coast. Brittany is outraged when it receives news from Britain that one of High King Constantine's own guards has murdered him.
Right.
Rumors vary. The guard may have been a knight of Logris or even a foreigner. King Aldronius mourns for his dead brother. Meanwhile, despite the bloodying they received at the Battle of Carleon, the Irish extend their holdings in Demete, eventually known as Estragales, in southern Cambria, and Domnonia in northern Cornwall. D20 rolls, please.
Got it going on.
16.
16. The intertribal feud escalates. What was a small problem has suddenly become a large one. A blood feud is declared. Roll below.
Oopsie.
What am I rolling?
You are rolling a d20.
1.
Okay. Died gloriously in battle at the Battle of the Lochs.
Oh.
Roll a d6 for glory gained.
5.
Alright, that is, oh god, alright, 75 divided by 2 is
37.5.
37.5, so 38. Then he died gloriously in battle, plus 1,000 glory.
Whoa! Okay, so 1,038.
Yes.
Wow.
So precise.
Phenomenal.
So precise. And one more d20 roll to see if any traits were picked up for the fam.
A 3.
No trait gained. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Okie dokie.
That explains the only reason why I picked could become a knight.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. D20 roll
13.
for
We got a 13.
Gibbs over here.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
13 you
Giblets.
say.
Yep.
Yep.
Fought at the Battle of River Parrot. Okay.
I'm assuming P-E-R-R-I-T.
P-A-R-R-E-T-T.
Huh.
That parrot.
That parrot. Alright, so D20 roll to see how Gramps did in battle.
All right. 5.
You sound
the-
doubtful.
That's
Survived.
Renae.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Renee will know.
Oh my god.
Survived. Okay, good.
Roll a d6 for glory.
A decent. Okay, I got that.
25, sir.
5 again.
5. 150. 75 glory for that one.
Okay.
This was Britons under their local chieftains versus Irish under their chieftain.
No wonder we did so well. We're just
Some hate flowing through your
hate
veins.
those Irish.
And how did Brittany do?
10.
A 10 again. Served garrison duty, survived Frisian raiding, gained 10 glory.
Okay.
Kind of
Garrison
quiet.
duty.
Garrison
Just
duty.
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duty.
I can't
Yeah.
escape.
And,
It's
all right.
alright. It's alright. Gotta go.
Yeah.
441. A call goes out, and the Supreme Collegium, this is in Cornwall, call goes out, and the Supreme Collegium is summoned to raise up a new High King, but either they never meet or can't agree this year. However, Dux Vortigern,
Yes.
or Dukes Vortigern, depending on how you want to pronounce that, practically drags Prince Constans from his books in the monastery,
Oh no.
and he becomes King of Logres.
That never goes
That's
well.
a bad idea.
Yeah. Huh.
Listen up, nerd! You're the new king!
Get your ass on the
Me, yeah. Get your ass on. Oh, my bugs.
Yeah. Bring my gym shorts.
Yeah.
Do I have to change in front of the other knights?
Oh, my glasses.
My glasses.
My glasses. All right, so
Sorry, Jade.
in Cornwall, the Durotriges, or Dorset, abandoned Jagent due to the losses sustained in last year's battle with the Irish. In Caledonia, the defeated tribes are harassed by the victorious... So I'm going to keep reading the Pictish events because there might be there are decision years where you have to decide what your larger family did.
Sure.
Yeah, so... Anyway, in Caledonia, the defeated tribes are harassed by the victorious ones, raided constantly and even driven from their best lands. Late in the year, they are approached by men from the south, sent by Dux Vortigern, telling tales of a land freshly abandoned by war. Lots of forests with good hunting and infertile soil, at least compared to Caledonia. In return, they will have to defend their new lands against any invaders, particularly the Irish. Given the blood feud and desperate situation in Caledonia, your tribe and another minor tribe decide to move to Jagent. So yeah, just to be clear, even though this is the Cornwall tables, your grandfather died in the north.
Yes.
Because you're still living up there.
Okay.
Okay, and then in Brittany, 441, King Aldronius decides to send a force of Breton knights to guard his young nephews, Constans, Aurelius, and Uther, in Britain. Vortigern, a Cambrian king and brother-in-law of Aldronius, drags Constantine's oldest son, Constans, from the monastery where he was raised, and urges the nobles of Logres to elect him as king to follow his father's footsteps. They do so, and Constans is crowned as king of Logres. King Richilla of the Suebi continues his expansionist policies in Hispania. He takes Seville. In Britain, the Irish capitalize on their victory in Cornwall. The Durotriges abandon the sparsely populated Jagent and concentrate their defenses in Dorset. All right,
Okay.
D20 rolls.
Somebody, you.
This guy?
Yeah.
Alright.
This guy right here.
6.
Okay.
Fought at the... Oh, wait, that's the wrong one.
What the?
Garrison duty.
Aw.
Survived raiding. Gained 20 glory.
Although,
Okay.
come on, it'd be so embarrassing if you died during garrison duty.
Yeah.
Fell downstairs.
Oh, and how many years are we in?
Oh, shoot.
This is the third year. Jade, I will give you the option. I know it'd be walking away from 1,000 glory.
What?
But there is an option if your grandfather or father dies early on in their timeline. You get one freebie to have them not die, but then I get to roll on the plot complications table.
Ooh, an extra table.
Tempting.
Yeah, I know.
I know, but
that's a lot of-
tables and glory are just as...
I know.
Yeah.
Plot
Oh, you love the
complications.
tables.
Well, if it helps, your father gets 1/100th of your grandfather's glory, so that's
Right.
only 100, and then you get 1/100th of that.
Nah.
It's only 10.
So you're really only getting 10 glory out
As
of that.
opposed to nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Plot
solid.
complications.
Plot complications! Plot complications!
All right.
Fools!
What's in the box? Nothing!
You get nothing.
No, there's 10. There's 10.
So, do you want to?
Give away the 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Story.
Yeah.
All for story.
I just chanted.
Yeah, what's the
Plot-
time?
What
Ten
more?
seconds.
Hello,
Does
I
it say
chanted.
something?
All right. So.
So, does he just fight in the Battle of Lochlan?
He was apparently mortally wounded, but then recovered.
Wow.
Right?
Left for dead and
not
revived.
done yet.
by
Yeah,
some
exactly.
Fairy,
Yeah.
fairy came and healed him.
So, does he get the 38 glory?
He still gets that.
Okay.
He still
That's
gets
pretty
that.
good.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's a lot for no.
No.
2 for no.
No.
It's like
Half
one
a
half.
one.
It's
Yeah.
half
It's
of
a
a
half
for
a
me.
one.
All right, roll me a d20. This is going to apply to your character, or even possibly the entire group.
Oh my god! What? I didn't know it was
Should have mentioned that
Can
earlier.
you hand me one of those? I can't.
That changes everything.
Go back. Take 1,000.
You're invited.
A 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
If anyone wants to roll this, it's Jade.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I
Oh
feel
god,
com-
yeah.
I'm
No, I feel
fine.
good.
Are
Yeah.
you sure?
Yeah.
Because he just
Yes.
Well,
He
he,
doesn't
does that
know
a
what he's
lot.
doing.
He
Probably
doesn't know what he's doing.
It's only been 3 years. We can start over.
Yeah.
It's only been 3
We can
years.
start- It's a wash, everybody.
It's over. The
Just-
game's over.
Just erase everything and start new.
All right. I have noted what it is, and we will move along.
I would want it no other way.
We're dead and we can't
I can't tell you why, but I'm not going to tell you until you're done making your characters.
It's
With-
Did
Anakin
y'all kiss
horses.
the Blarney Stone or?
Yeah, that's
Anakin
exactly it.
horses.
All right,
We
so in
pissed
that
on the Blarney
case,
Stone.
Shit. Yeah.
grandfather's still alive, so d20 roll
Okay.
for grandpapa.
12.
12. Grandfather. Defended against enemy raids, gained 20 glory.
Okay.
And did we get everybody?
Yeah.
Renee, did
Brittany.
you?
No.
We did not
No,
do
we
it.
weren't.
441.
441.
Okay, what did you roll?
15.
Served garrison duty, saw some combat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Gained 20 glory.
You know?
Okay.
It's just a year of garrison duty.
no. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what it
much.
was, actually.
Yeah.
All right, 442.
Go for it.
The Supreme Collegium convenes and, after a long debate, elects King Constans as the new High King of Britain. King Constans is a young, bookish type,
Yeah.
being
no.
young and raised in a monastery, so he relies on his
Monetary?
uncle. Monastery.
Yeah.
So he relies on his uncle,
Yeah.
Dux Vortigern, for advice.
Aww.
One of
convenient.
the
Yeah.
first decrees is the movement of 2 Pictish tribes from Caledonia to now abandon Jagent, having accepted Vortigern's offer to shore up defenses against the Irish. In addition, some Caledonian Picts are hired to be the High King's bodyguards.
Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
The relocated Picts find Jagent is much to their liking.
I like it.
Dux Vortigern provides them with tools, grain, and livestock as gifts to replace whatever they may have left behind and help them raise crops in Jagent. He's a good friend to the Picts.
Interesting. What's his first name? How do you spell it? Duck?
Well, it's Dux, D-U-X. It's the Latin.
Oh,
it's the root of Duke.
Duke, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be pronounced Dukes, I suppose, but
You're not doing that.
No.
No, you don't have to. It's
It's
fine.
affected.
Yeah.
Nerd. King Nerd.
and then
Yeah.
King Nerd of Nerd Castle. And then in Brittany,
Why is that so funny?
Because it's funny.
I know. It's really good.
The Huns, led by Attila,
Oh.
invade the Danube provinces of the Eastern Roman Empire.
Ooh.
Count Aetius, who now controls the Western Roman Empire, settles Burgundian federati in Switzerland. The Burgundians feud with the continental Saxons, which stirs up other tribes in the area. In Britain, the Supreme Collegium convenes, and thanks to Vortigern's persuasiveness, they elect Constans as the High King of Britain. Constans, a bookish youth, relies heavily on King Vortigern's advice, knows how they call him King.
Yeah.
King Vortigern's advice, and invites 2 tribes of Picts to settle in the abandoned Jagent and protect it against the Irish.
Okay.
He also dismisses his Breton bodyguards, replacing them with Picts. Oh, his Breton bodyguards. They didn't mention that in the Cornish history.
Yep.
Aldronius, King of Brittany, and Constance's uncle, is troubled by these events when his knights return and report.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, cool.
Okay,
being
D20
swayed.
rolls.
Do
Yeah.
this.
15.
Oh yeah.
15. All right. So, that is rated Irish lands. Gain
Good.
20 glory. Jade?
10.
All right. Let's see. Just checking for modifiers. All right. Good luck. You have good luck hunting in Jagent. Gain 10 glory. And
10.
10 as well. Served garrison duty.
Are you serious?
Saw little or no combat.
Oh my. It's a habit.
Yep.
Yeah.
No glory that year.
Damn.
Oof.
We just play dice and drink.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Can't blame him.
Okay. Year 443.
Already?
Yeah, oh, we're cruising along.
All right. Here we go.
Vortigern,
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Vortigern wines and dines the Picts.
What?
One night, Constans is murdered by his Pictish bodyguards.
Who would have seen that coming?
No one saw that coming.
no.
No one.
Dux Vortigern immediately has all the bodyguards beheaded.
Whoa.
Yep.
Word comes
course.
back to Jagent that Vortigern promises to lead retaliatory raids into Caledonian Pictland. After much debate, Dux Vortigern is selected to be king of Logris. The Irish raid heavily in Cornwall, attacking Cymry and Picts alike. However, when the news of the treachery of the Pictish bodyguards arrives in Cornwall, the Cymry send raiding parties of their own against the Picts. Many of the Picts who lost family in the bodyguards are angry and feeling betrayed by the Cymry, especially Vortigern, but others are counseling patience. Not only are the facts of the case unclear, but the surrounding Cymry, if given a good enough reason to, might wipe out the Picts.
Well,
Oh yes. That's
if they're
true.
murdering people and...
And Brittany receives the terrible news that High King Constans of Britain has been murdered by his Pict bodyguards.
Can you believe it?
I don't believe
That's
it.
what you get. Vortigern has the murderers
right.
has the murderers executed swiftly without a trial,
Because
and the
he's
nobles of
Lord.
Logris
Yeah,
elect
exactly.
Vortigern as king of Logris.
Evidence pointing toward him.
King Aldronius suffers a stroke at the news,
What?
but orders from his deathbed for Constantine's other sons, Aurelius Ambrosius and Uther, to be spirited out of Britain to Brittany, as he fears Vortigern has designs on their lives.
Yep.
Don't bring
He's
you
right.
here.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Budek, Aldronius' son, becomes king. He welcomes his 2 cousins to Brittany when they arrive, just in time for Aldronius' funeral, which is attended by many foreign dignitaries. All right, let's get some
Dark
rolls.
days.
Chaos.
Dark
We got
days.
a 5 over here.
We've got 5 on it.
Yeah.
All
Sorry
right.
about that.
Yeah,
I
5.
thought you served you.
All right. Garrison duty.
Yay!
Survived Irish raiding, gained 20 glory.
All right.
Alright, well. Now they came back to raid
I also
us.
got a 5.
5, and Jade?
Gee, I
I got
wonder.
an 8.
Yeah.
An 8. Jade, garrison duty as well. 20 glory for you from Irish raiding. And for Renae, we have 5, you say?
Yeah.
Garrison duty.
Right.
Shocking.
Grandpa was a
Yeah.
bureaucrat, I think.
Shocking.
Yeah.
You think?
He's pulling the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't terribly ambitious at the very
No.
No, he's pulling easy duty.
Yeah.
Good for him.
least. Okay.
Why would I want to risk my life?
Yeah, we're trying to survive, man.
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Not for nothing.
That was 0, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
That's where we all came from. Yeah. People were like, I want to survive, so I'm going to go that way.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay,
this
yeah,
is this is one of those decision years, and it's for Picts specifically.
Oh!
For Jagent Picts, if a member of your family was a bodyguard, your family becomes dissident, and you gain passion-hate Vortigern. Otherwise, you can choose to become a dissident, stay neutral towards Vortigern, or defend his actions. Those bodyguards did kill the king, no matter what their excuse was. In the last case, your family becomes loyalist. So dissident, loyalist, or neutral.
I'm gonna random roll it.
All right.
D3, so dissonance 1, neutralist 2, and then loyalist 3.
Okay.
That's a dissident.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah, seems natural.
All right.
That was a 1. Does that mean like one of your family was one of the bodyguards?
No, because that would have come up on the table. So, but nonetheless, maybe a distant relation or a
Cousin.
friend.
Yeah.
Or family friend.
Well, sure, it's a try.
So you gain the passion of hate Vortigern at 2d6 plus 6.
Yay!
Ooh. He's easy to hate. He's very
it really
hateable.
is.
Yes.
Just think about that name.
Yeah.
Vortigern. Whoa.
8, so 14.
14. All right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is borderline notable.
It is. All right.
We were betrayed.
I know. Obviously.
Yeah.
Most foully.
Yeah.
Cruelly.
Murder most foul. All right. Year 444.
Here we
The
go.
Picts stage a massive invasion, with their armies occupying much of the north and bands of raiders penetrating all the way into Logres. Rather than risk a great loss, King Vortigern orders his armies to dig in and garrison their homes and holdings. Cornwall is subject to raids from the Irish, while the rest of Britain defends against the furious Picts. There appears to be small bands that even penetrate into Cornwall, as the aftermath of the raids show.
Okay.
Some of the Jagent Picts raid back in revenge, but are careful not to get caught. They are careful to stage the attack so that they can be blamed on the Caledonian Picts.
Huh. Wow. Picked on picked crime, man.
Picked on Pict violence.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Picts killing Picts.
Yeah, that's right.
And then in Brittany, merchants tell the story that in Frisia, King Finn kills several lords from a visiting Saxon delegation.
Well, that's normal. That's good and right.
A surviving Saxon warrior... Already. A surviving Saxon warrior, Hengest, submits to Finn on behalf of the remaining Saxons. Emboldened, Frisians raid on the Soissons and Breton coasts. In Britain, Picts retaliate against King Vortigern's reprisals and raid as far south as the cities of Glevum in Gloucester and St. Albans. Word comes back that the southern Picts in Jagent raid only locally and in response to raids in their areas. D20 rolls, please.
I got a 1.
Wow.
I got a 14.
It's a very goth D20.
14, okay, and
10.
14. All right, so a natural 1 unfortunately means this time he really did die for realsies.
Oh.
So you have to roll on the cause of death table.
D20?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 12.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, it's a D6.
Oh.
D6.
Not a 12.
No.
Not a 12. 4.
4 natural causes, illness, or
Wow.
I'm going to put that in quotation marks.
just natural causes. And then we got a 14.
14.
Okay. Served garrison duty and survived. Defended well. Oh, wait, no, I'm in Brittany. Sorry. 14.
Garrison duty and survived.
Yeah.
Garrison duty, defended well, gained 20 glory. And then, Renae, you got
10. Okay.
served garrison duty and survived. Defended well against Frisian raiders, gained 20 glory.
Oops. Okay.
All right. 445. The Picts continue their massive invasion, with their armies occupying much of the north and bands of raiders penetrating all the way into Logres. Wait a minute. Did we already do that? Did we do 445?
No.
We did 444.
444.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
It's part 2 of the Pict invasion.
King Vortigern. I'm confused.
Do you need more light?
Nah, well, I do, but that remote, the battery died, so I don't know.
What kind of battery do you need?
It was a watch battery.
That's annoying.
Which one was it?
I don't know. It's in the remote.
Where is it? Where did I put it?
It was in the basket.
Okay,
We
you
do
guys
need a
keep
light.
doing your thing.
Just hit the biggies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could turn on the fluorescence.
Yeah. Everyone
I
just look
can't see
down.
anything either.
Yeah, close your eyes.
There, fine.
Alright, we're good. It's not half as bad as I thought it would be. I'm so used to like super bright fluorescence right over me at work.
Oh.
It's a little further removed. But no, I'm cute.
Alright, so the Picts continue their massive invasion, with their armies occupying much of the north and bands of raiders penetrating all the way into Logres. King Vortigern orders his armies to defend, and he sends appeals for help to the continent. Dumnonia is subject to raids from the Irish. The king of Dumnonia sends emissaries to ask for help from King Budek of Brittany, who does send some warriors to help stem the Irish tide. Jagent is more peaceful, but there are some monsters in the woods.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Alright, and in Britain, the Picts continue their sweeping raids from the north, and the Irish continue to raid in Cornwall.
Jeepers.
The foothold the Irish have gained in northern Cornwall has made it increasingly difficult for the king of Dumnonia, who asks Budek for help. In Frisia, Hengest kills King Finn in revenge for Finn's ignominious murder of Saxon lords the previous year. Hengest vows to lead his followers to new lands. This throws the Frisians into confusion, giving the Bretons respite from the pirate raids. King Budek starts building up his own fleet and sends warriors to help the Dumnonii. All right.
Yay, they're helping us.
D20 rolls.
That's us. Okay, here we go. Rock and roll. 9.
A 9. Whoa. What the hell just
What
happened?
happened?
I
Where'd
see
it go?
it. I see it. Oh, you do? Okay, thanks. Thank you.
In there.
In.
Okay,
Ooh,
you're good.
That's a natural 20.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
Nice.
A 9, you said, Jen?
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Gibbs.
Gibbs say 9.
Non-picked garrison duty defended well with Breton help gained 20 glory. And a natural 20. Surely is not going to be garrison duty.
Surely.
But it
Reaction.
is.
And yet,
Super garrison duty.
special
apparently,
garrison
yeah.
I'll be right.
It's double garrison duty.
Oh, whoa.
Ahem. Ship caught in the storm on way to Cornwall. All was thought lost until a mysterious white seal swam up to the ship and began circling it.
Oh my.
Soon the storm abated, but the ship was damaged and forced to return to Brittany, gained 10 glory.
Oh, wow.
It's actually less glory than garrison duty. And there's a magical seal.
There's a magical seal. You had to run in with a magical seal.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one
Typical.
believes you.
Typical magical seals.
Yeah.
I tell you, the seal was this big.
Who cares?
All right.
Seal. Okay.
Excellent. We start rolling for your dad.
Dad, yay.
Hello. So, magical seal intervention.
What? That's pretty sweet.
I know, but only 10 glory.
10 glory.
That's stingy.
That's stingy.
It is.
All right. Okay. Yep. All right. So where were we? 446.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
King Vortigern, realizing he needs assistance against the furious Picts, and in good Roman fashion, hires new barbarians to fight the old barbarians. Vortigern notifies.
well.
Yep. Vortigern notifies the Collegium. Oh, thank you. Vortigern notifies the Collegium he is giving the Saxons the Isle of Thanet in Kent in exchange for military assistance as federates. He encourages the Saxons to send for more reinforcements. Thus reinforced, the British army marches north against the Picts. Battle is met near the city of Lincoln and is a great victory for the British. I'm sure those Saxons will sort themselves out.
Oh, yeah.
Of
Closer-
course. Like,
Vortigern's fault.
yeah.
It is Vortigern's fault. Closer to home, the Irish of Lyonesse are brought to battle at Bodmin Moor by the Dumnonii and Breton
Yes.
warriors who come to help.
That's us.
The Picts, for the most part, leave to fight at Lincoln, but for whom? The Loyalists fight for Vortigern, while the dissidents fight on the side of the Caledonian Picts.
So just more fighting.
Fight, 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 fight.
Fighting around the world.
And then in Brittany, 446, Budek builds more ships, strengthens fortifications, and increases coastal watches to ensure safety along the shores. He continues supporting the Dumnonii against the Irish,
Good.
and many friendships are formed between the Dumnonii and Breton warriors.
That's us.
Interesting.
That's us.
Romans
Yeah.
send an army.
That's
That's us.
We're pals. We're pals now.
Yay,
We're
we're
buddies.
We're friends.
Bros.
Romans
right.
send an army against the Suebi in Hispania, summoning troops from Brittany and Aquitaine to help. Roman commander Vitus suffers a humiliating defeat at the hands of the Suebi in Guadalquivir, and his army routs. In Britain, Hengest and his Saxon followers land on the Isle of Thanet in Kent. In traditional Roman fashion, King Vortigern decides to use the new barbarians to fight the old barbarians. The king promises the Saxons land in exchange for the might of the Saxon warriors, who end up carrying the day for the Britons against the Picts at the Battle of Lincoln.
Well, that was a stupid move.
Let's get some rolls.
10.
10. A 10 is rolled, and it says to me
Garrison duty.
Yeah.
that means he fought at the Battle of Bodmin Moor.
Whoa!
So roll again, D20.
2.
Died in battle.
Okay.
No.
Had to happen.
So that's
Bring it back.
And somebody roll it. Oh, you want to cancel
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Cancel for...
Cancel.
Sure.
Plot
Go ahead.
complication.
But cop.
We're
Does it work
fair
at this-
fair number of years in though. That's mostly for like if he dies in the first year or two.
Sorry, fine,
Okay.
forget it.
Alright, he's dead.
He's
Fine.
dead.
He had to go.
Well,
Roll
this is
a
bad.
roll a
Fucking old.
d6 for the glory though.
4.
So that would be 60 glory. Battle of Bodmin Moor.
Okay.
And so that just leaves Renee's granddaddy alive.
Oh, let's see.
Yep.
finally saw that seal.
This is a 1.
That is a death.
Oh!
There we go.
That's it.
Wow.
It was
But we
an
have to
omen.
roll for your cause of death.
All
Don't we
right.
get 1,000
Same
glory,
D20?
No. We got 60. 6-0.
D6.
D6. Okay. Here it goes.
For death?
For death? In combat with bandits, raiders, or beasts.
Oh, can I pick?
You can pick. You can absolutely pick.
Beasts.
Beast.
Yeah. It was with that white magic seal. He was on the beach.
The seal came back for you.
Huh.
It's an ex-wife.
Yeah.
Who was swimming along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. So one thing I forgot to mention is that because your grandfather was automatically knighted, he did have 1,000 glory. He started with 1,000 glory. So
You could add 2,000.
So just add 1,000 to whatever.
to your and that's your grandfather's. Now we're going to skip ahead to your father, and your father's going to inherit 1/100th of your
the
grandfather's total.
So that's 1,108.
Oh, did I get any glory for that?
Oh,
So
for
we
dying
have,
from
we
the
have
beast?
1385
glory.
for granddad.
Oh, what if I had picked a...
You're just out walking, and all of a sudden, like, ah!
Oh, okay.
So,
What can you do?
139 glory to Dad.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
The old padre.
Yep.
Wait, how much is it?
Papa Gib.
1/100th.
1/100th?
Wait, what am I saying?
No?
It's
1/10th.
1/10. What am I
Okay.
saying 1/100th?
I don't know what's wrong
Short
with you.
circuiting.
There's a
Brain.
lot. There's just a lot.
There
Lot of
is. There's
numbers.
a lot of
Lot of
reading,
numbers.
a lot of
So it'd
looking,
be
Charts,
111.
templates.
a lot of
Templates.
yeah.
We get out the blast template. see how many
Yeah.
of you
You
are hit.
know,
Yeah.
tractors.
It is what it is.
No, yeah. Eventually we're going to catch it.
Yeah.
That's,
Someday.
that's the key.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to skip ahead. I'll do a quick summary of the years that we're zipping
Oh.
through.
Okay.
But we're going to skip ahead to 460, actually.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
All right.
jump.
Good morning.
I'm just going to
Is
erase
that when
a
he was
bunch of,
knighted at 460?
He was knighted in 459, actually.
Dad was knighted
4,
450.
5,
Okay.
9.
And married in 460.
Okay.
Okay. That's wise.
Yep. Okay, so let's see. I think there's a timeline back here. I can just very quickly access.
Yeah, I forget how short marriages were.
Oh yeah, average length of a pre-industrial marriage was 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow, because of
Death,
wooing? Yeah,
premature death.
okay.
Or death. Death.
One person dying,
Death.
Yeah, death. Just
Because of death.
straight up death.
just straight death. Let's see. So in 447, there's more Frisian piracy.
Of course.
And Budak sends his ships against them, and the trade routes are cleared. The British celebrate. The Picts are defeated. Vortigern is elected next High King, although the King of the Dumnonii argues against it.
That's right.
Vortigern awards the Saxon mercenaries with the Isle of Thanet as federates. Saint Germanus of Auxerre makes his second trip to Britain. He heals the crippled leg of the son of Elafius, Praetor of Winchester, and converts many to the true faith. Afterwards, he returns back to the continent via Brittany. 448, the Bacaude revolt in Brittany is put down with help from the Alans, a barbarian tribe of Orleans.
The Alans?
Yeah. They're just dancing. They're just dancing. Prince Aurelius, now King Budek's squire, witnesses just how powerful
Little
heavy cavalry
stinkers.
is. Saint Germanus, returning from Britain, pleads for the kings and the warriors to be merciful toward the defeated peasants. News from Britain reports the High King Vortigern not only uses Saxons to fight his battles,
damn it.
but is also besotted with the Saxon chief Hengest's daughter Rowena.
Whoa.
Okay, so like this is
Yes.
the problem. This is
What?
it's all his decisions
Oh, yeah.
that caused the problems that we're in
Yeah.
presently.
So obviously he's enamored with Saxons.
Yeah,
He just thinks they're
he's a fool for blondes.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's the Logris equivalent of a weeb.
He's a shit stirrer extraordinaire.
he
Yep.
is.
Yeah, and some British start to become worried about this continued influx of Saxons into Britain.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
should be.
well,
They
yeah.
should be.
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Vortigern, and so in 449, Vortigern again counsels waiting until he arranges help to arrive. Word arrives back that the High King and Rowena, the Saxon chief's daughter, are of one heart
What?
And maybe that is one
Gross.
reason he is not helping being too busy with his mistress.
Oh.
What?
What?
Wait, repeat
Is he
that.
discarding someone?
What happened?
Word arrives back that the High King and Rowena, the Saxon chief's daughter, are one in heart, and maybe that is the reason he is not helping, being too busy with his mistress.
Oh, she's Rowena.
Yeah.
I thought there was something
there was
else.
Yet another-
Someone else
yeah.
Helping
involved.
against Irish raids, I should be clear.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No wonder why we hate him.
Yeah.
This is a decision year for you Cornish people.
Okay.
Decide if your family got tired of Vortigern's wait-and-see attitude and turned dissident.
Yeah.
We hate him.
Fuck
Yeah,
him.
fuck
yeah.
that guy.
No, he's the worst.
There you go.
All right. So
I got your answer. We're walking on air.
That's right.
make a note that you're dissidents. Your family are dissidents.
Where do we put that?
Let's put in notes.
Yeah, notes.
Yeah.
The place that says notes.
Put it.
Vortigern dissidents.
Vortigern must die.
Vortigern must die. All right, year 450. Vortigern impressed with the battle
Do they get
prowess.
a passion for that?
They don't actually.
Weird.
Just
just
straight up
is.
hate him.
It just
Yeah.
is.
That's
Weird.
part of who we are.
Yeah. Vortigern impressed with the battle prowess of the Saxons and even more with the talents of Rowena.
What talents?
Whoa!
Heyo.
I don't need to know all that.
Well, you do now.
And I fucking do.
Now you do. You do
Cannot know it now.
This is what we have to hear.
Oh.
That's all his communiques are. It's like, oh, can you help us? Wow, I'm really liking this girl.
She's talented.
Yeah, she's got
Uh,
talents.
what?
She's multi-talented.
That is how Saxons say goodbye.
Oh.
All right. Hengist, let's see here, daughter of Saxon chief. Hengist marries her this year in a lavish celebration.
Ugh.
Hengist
Spending that
receives the
Yep.
Cantii Civitas as her bride price and renames it Kent. The leader of the Cantii is executed for high treason when he objects to the robbery of half of his people's lands. Now whispers truly start. Vortigern prefers the company of the savage Saxons over the civilized Britons.
Sure.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who is next to lose their head to make room for more Saxons? The king of the Dumnonia is especially troubled by Vortigern's brutality and continued disinterest in helping the Dumnonia.
Yeah, fuck that.
We don't like you.
No.
Meanwhile, in Brittany, Aegidius is made Magister Militum of Gaul by Aetius. King Clodio of the Franks dies. Aetius supports the claim of the younger son, Meroveus, but Attila supports the older son, Kilderic. He uses this as a pretext for invasion of Gaul. A few British nobles successfully reestablished ties with Budek, leader of Brittany. And more Frisian pirate action. The Frisian pirates are defeated. The threat
I
of the
feel sorry
pirates
for them, kind
is
of.
gone.
I know.
And
I know.
yeah, rumors about Vortigern's boning down on Rowena reached Brittany.
Whoa.
What? Rumors?
Yeah. It's like a drinking song now.
Good times.
Yeah. A delegation is sent to attend the wedding.
Well, they have to mind their P's and Q's, or else he's gonna
Yeah.
invade them.
Chop his head
Heads
off.
off.
Yeah.
451, news from the continent that the Huns, led by their king Attila, reached the walls of Rome itself, but were unable to storm or besiege it. Some say the Huns were stopped because they lacked siege engines. Others that they failed because of the Pope's piety. After
Well, that's a joke. That was a joke. It wasn't a rumor.
After failing to smash or bluff Rome into submission, the Hun army turns to Gaul for pillage and plunder, scouring the land of its wealth, slaughtering as it goes.
Yeah.
The commander in Gaul, Aetius, sends for help from all who will send it. Vortigern sends a contingent comprised of many who do not agree with his policies.
Wow.
The allied army meets the Huns at Chalons, where the Huns are defeated and driven from Europe.
Huh.
While many go overseas to fight the Huns, the Irish take the opportunity to increase raids, with more of them arriving from Ireland.
Yep.
Wow, we really are going to hate the Irish.
Yeah,
They're crafty little fuckers.
they are. Hard, look at that over there.
And yes, so obviously Brittany has very much the same news.
Okay.
In fact, it's even closer to home.
Yeah.
King Budek sends Prince Aurelius, now a knight, along with the Breton contingent, to fight the Huns. The allied army meets the Huns at Chalons, where the Huns are defeated and driven from Gaul. Prince Aurelius gets separated and finds himself in the midst of the battle. He joins the nearest unit, which happens to be Aquitanian, led by their king. Suddenly, a unit of Huns breaks through and attacks. Although King Theodoric dies, Aurelius manages to secure the king's body to prevent its desecration. Aurelius is later invited to Prince Thorismund's own tent for thanks.
Wait,
What?
whoa.
Britain-
What's going on there?
Nice.
In Britain, Vortigern and Rowena's son, Cerdic, is born.
Fuck that fucker! Fuck you!
Kill him.
Kill him immediately!
Kill him
Kill the
immediately.
child.
Throw him into the sea.
Kill the boy child.
Feed him to the seal.
bonfire.
Feed him to the seal.
The seal. The bonfire.
Dangling him off the...
Yep.
You know, he's just going to return with seal powers, right?
Yes.
Oh god, he's stronger than
I
ever
get to
before.
with seal powers.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Yes!
Dolphin
Dolphin
Lundgren.
Lundgren.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Let's just close up now.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
452, the Irish increase the raids, pushing the Dumnonii back. The Jagent Picts send warriors to help the Dumnonii. Many Dumnonii are accepting of the Picts and now
Yeah.
see them as potential friends and allies.
Totally.
Some are willing to accept the Picts into their tribe and homes. Some
Yeah.
Picts reciprocate. However, many others are tired of waiting for Vortigern and his promised help, so the king of the Dumnonii sends his son, Prince Riothamus, to request aid from King Budek of Brittany.
Well, but I'm worried.
Well, we might pick up one or two
It's our
decent
best.
guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, actually.
He's handsome.
And then in Brittany, Britain's peace with Ireland is off, and Vortigern sends counter raids to Irish lands in Britain, while his
Well, that's
Saxons
good. I
still
prefer
battle
that.
the Picts in the north. The king of
Scared of
Dumnonii sends his son, Prince Riothamus, to request aid from King Budek. In Brittany, there's a time of quiet after the losses of the last year. Also,
No
grim,
kidding.
Yeah.
Nobody left to fight.
also grim satisfaction at the fact that the Huns have been defeated. King Budek sends back word to the Dumnonii that he will send help next year.
Yay.
Okay.
And yep. Okay, cool. 453. While the Irish continue raiding, Brittany sends its fleet to aid the Dumnonii against the Irish in Britain. Fleet is scattered by a storm as they are rounding the tip of Lyonesse, but the main force of the fleet manages to hold together and engage a fleet of Irish warriors coming over from Ireland to raid the Dumnonii.
No.
The Irish reinforcements are defeated and sent fleeing back to Ireland, helping the Dumnonii to hold their own in Cornwall. As always, there are strange creatures to defeat, as well as Irish to fight. When isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seals, man.
Yeah. See?
Fucking seals.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
So
All
good
right.
job.
Yeah.
Even if you're in the
Yeah.
forest.
Yeah, what can you do?
Oh, here they come.
454. Let's see.
Yeah.
Cornish Irish are pushed back in 454. And the Bretons are sent home because they're not needed anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Meanwhile, in Brittany, General Aetius returns to the Roman capital at Ravenna. Emperor Valentinian III accuses him of plotting to seize his throne and murders him during a meeting of the Imperial Council.
Whoops.
After this assassination, the Western Roman Empire has no effective defender against its hostile barbarian neighbors. In Britain, the Dumnonii are slowly pushing the Irish back, etc., etc.
Good.
Okay. Year 455, another decision year for the Cornish.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, bring it on.
News arrives that Rome, the center of the civilized world, has been sacked.
Yes.
A tribe of
Right.
Germans called the Vandals has done the impossible and brought
Yeah.
Rome low.
Yeah.
The Western
Well.
Empire is finished.
Oh.
Vortigern's promised help comes to fruition this year. He moves the Cornovii from Cambria to Cornwall, and the Votadini from Caledonia to northern Cambria. The Irish
How many
and,
years to do this?
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
the Irish in Cornwall, Lyonesse, are expelled by the Cornovii. Vortigern gives not only Lyonesse but also Totnes to the Cornovii as a reward. The Dumnonii are displaced from Totnes and crowd into Ascalon and Tintagel, understandably upset.
Right.
Finally, Vortigern settles two new kingdoms of Saxons, Nohaut and Deira, under Hengest and Horse's sons,
Not here.
Opta and Eosa,
Oh, yeah.
in Cumbria on lands confiscated from Cymru.
That's beautiful.
With the help of the Saxons, a major raid into Ireland occurs. These
Wow.
two events lead to a treaty ending the Irish threat from Ireland. The High King marries one of his daughters to the son of the Irish High King, Logair.
Okay.
So, it's a decision here, as mentioned. The Dumnonii are angry with Vortigern.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no shit.
He gives our land to the Cornovii.
That's right.
Yes.
We were doing fine, kicking
Yeah.
the Irish out ourselves.
That's
What
right.
right does he have to do that?
We actually
Right.
were.
Agree.
Yeah,
All
we're-
Dumnonii become dissidents.
Oh, shit.
Okay, well, we already
You
were.
were ahead of the
dissidents before
curve.
We
it
were
was
OG.
cool.
We were OG.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You were the I told you so crowd.
That's
Yeah.
right. We were dissidents 6 years ago. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
Welcome.
Picts generally don't care which Cymric tribe gets moved where. They are all Cymri. However, some dissident Picts warn their people that this is an example of how Vortigern, who gave them this land, can also snatch it away.
Yep. Yep.
Loyalist Picts, meanwhile, urge their people to place their trust in Vortigern, who gave them this land, The anger of the Dumnonii could very easily fall on the Picts next, since are they not settled here by Vortigern? So, yeah.
All right.
If you were still neutral, you would have to choose a side, basically.
Yeah, well, no.
There you go.
And Brittany also gets news about Rome being sacked.
Wow.
All are shocked to hear. Barbarians have brought Rome low. Let's see. The Roman emissary Avitus is hailed as the new emperor by the Aquitanians in Toulouse and escorted back to Italy. And then just word from Britain about the relocations and the Irish, etc., etc. 456. 456. The migrations continue. Towards the end of the year, word arrives that Vortimer and the Eastern Britons are rebelling, but it is too late in the year to summon the army. 456 in Brittany, the new Roman Emperor Avitus orders the Aquitanians to reconquer Hispania. Prince Aurelius and some Breton warriors join the reconquest, which ends with the capture and execution of the Suebi king by the Aquitanians. In Britain, the Eastern Britons rebel, protesting the policies of King Vortigern. They are led by Vortigern's eldest sons, Vortimer and Cadogan.
Mortimer and Cadogan.
A battle ensues at Aylesford. The rebels win. However, it is rumored that one of his sons was killed. 457, another decision year for everyone.
Okay.
The Eastern Britons continue their rebellion. The king summons his army, including the Saxons, and marches against them. The great battle ensues at Kent, at which the rebels are crushed. Vortigern gives the great lands of the Contii tribe to his loyal Saxons.
Oh my god.
The Dumnonii use the distraction of the Eastern rebellion to try and oust the Cornovii. However, with the help of the Picts of Jagent, the Cornovii defeat the Dumnonii, killing their king, and take over the kingdom of Dumnonia.
Well, fuck that.
They rename it the Kingdom of Cornwall and dispossess the remaining Dumnonii nobility.
No.
Many Dumnonii commoners
rise
also
again.
flee,
Yeah.
especially refugees from Totnes. The Dumnonii do a mass exodus to Brittany under their prince, now King Reothimus, and found the Kingdom of Dumnonie. King Reothimus marries the daughter of King Budek.
Alright, fine.
So, decision here. Prince Reothimus leads the Dumnonii to Brittany. If Dumnonii, your family, including father, flees and becomes part of the second migration. So all three of you have ended up in Brittany. A young nobleman named Gorlois stands out as a leader in this movement of the tribe as the Cornovii harass the Dumnonii until they reach the boats and leave.
He's harassing him?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Rod.
Yeah.
so all of you are going to
Why
gain a
you
new
so?
passion called heritage.
Okay.
New
The
passion?
three of you.
The three of
All
you.
three of us?
Yeah.
Just in general?
Yeah,
Alright,
three of you in general.
heritage.
It's 2d6 plus 8,
Oh.
Ooh, +8.
and you will be rolling on the Brittany tables
From now on.
until your father, until we come back in your
Are we all individually rolling these? Or
You're
collectively?
individually rolling.
15.
Or no, this is just for your
This
this
is
is
your dad,
overall.
right?
So yeah,
It's
this
for
is
my
for
father.
that.
Oh, for Padre.
So
Right?
15?
Yeah.
Alright, I screwed that.
Alright.
that's fine.
15.
Yep.
Cool.
Heritage,
Yep.
15. Okay.
Okay.
We're not Brittany, though, I'm telling you.
No, we're not.
And then 457. Let's see here. See if there's anything to add there. Many disillusioned or displaced Britons arrive in Brittany to escape Vortigern's rule, continuing the second migration. It is not long before raids occur, leading to skirmishes.
Yeah.
King Budek, Prince Aurelius, and the rulers of Aquitaine step in and enforce peace. Any family that arrives here from any table may choose which kingdom they wish to live in. The old kingdom of Vanitae, ruled by King Budek, cousin to Aurelius and Uther, or the new kingdom of Dumnonie, established by King Reothimus. So that means you guys get to choose. I would suggest, since Renee's character is from Vanitae,
Yeah.
Oh,
you might want to settle there.
okay.
Give you a
No.
link.
No.
Dumnonie.
Yeah.
Politically, that doesn't really go well.
Well, it just says that you can choose.
I know.
Any
So why
family
would we
that
choose?
Well, it's just where you settled.
Why wouldn't we settle with our tribe?
With our
Our
claim
Their
name.
own
original
prince.
king.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Heritage of
Makes sense.
15.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
pretty dry.
Yeah.
All right. The people of Dumnonie, being exiled Britons themselves, are quite active in supporting Aurelius and his dream of rescuing Britain from the grip of Vortigern and his Saxons,
Yeah.
and hence
Yeah.
this may be a desirable location for any other exiles too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Good. All right. 458. Many dissident Britons continue to depart from the island, moving with their families and possessions to Brittany. With the ouster of Reothimus and his Dumnonii, peace comes to Cornwall. The Picts slowly start adopting feudal attitudes regarding age of adulthood and raiding as a lifestyle, but many still follow their heathen ways, including raids. Vortigern starts reorganizing the tribes into smaller units called counties, the better to
Wow.
collect income.
I don't know why this guy's still alive. Yeah, it's a good question, Ben.
He's got the Saxons on the side.
That's true. You're right. That's it.
Meanwhile, in Brittany, the Western Roman Empire Majorian builds a fleet in Italy and hires many mercenaries. He successfully arranges for King Budek to reinforce the Romans as King Theodoric II marches his army against Arles, a strategic city on the Rhone River. The Bretons, led by Aurelius and Riothamus, Majorian's army defeats the Aquitanians. In the aftermath, a humiliating new treaty with Rome requires Aquitaine to give up its recent Hispanian gains as well.
Okay.
In Britain, word comes back that King Vortigern is continuing to reorganize his lands. Okay, 459.
Almost there.
Almost
Are
there.
we almost there?
Yeah.
We're almost to
Oh,
data.
God.
Dad gets knighted this
Dad's-
year.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vortigern continues reorganizing tribal lands in Logris. The exodus to Brittany continues for many Britons, but not Cornovii, who are busy consolidating their hold over Dunovii territory.
Enjoy.
Yeah, have a good time with that.
Mhm.
We'll be back.
GLA chef.
And Gorlois continues to prove himself a fearsome warrior in the battles this year.
It's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
like
you know what
him.
he is.
We're liking him.
Damn him, I
Yeah,
like him.
he's a good one.
Okay, so we're into 460.
Oh, thank God.
Time for Dad to
Here
show
we
up.
go.
Happy.
Oh.
Papa Gib.
All right.
Papa's married.
Wouldn't Dad have shown up in 459 since that's when he was knighted?
Might die in
That was the
450.
year he was knighted, but the yearly events start in 460.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He
Here
was
we are.
married that
Here
year.
we are.
Married.
Yep.
Married.
All right. So, for our one remaining person in Cornwall, our picked, peace and negotiations among most of the tribes. Vortimer musters the dissidents and rebels, plus some new tribes willing to fight. He especially works, this is Vortimer, he especially works to get a fleet from the southern coastal tribes. High King Vortigern finishes breaking the tribes into smaller units known as counties. King of Cornwall follows his example and officially establishes the counties of Lyonesse, Totnes, Tintagel, and Ascalon. Jagent becomes its own county in the kingdom of Logris. Vortigern orders the Picts to help the kingdom of Cornwall in tracking down and eliminating a large group of Domnonii bandits in the Blackdown Hills.
Ugh.
Why couldn't
Refugees,
be part of
you mean?
that?
Yeah.
Bandits. Insurgents. All right, so roll a
Right.
d20, please. You're still dissident, of course.
8.
Daddy was a dissident. Let's see here. You had garrison duty, saw little to no combat.
Oh my gosh.
And then in Brittany, more refugees arrive from Britain and are settled throughout Brittany. The Roman Aquitanian army under General Nepotianus and Sunieric defeats the Suebi in a battle. Aurelius continues backing the Romans and lends his forces for the campaign. All right, everyone roll that d20, which is to say, the two of you.
Oh.
Or I mean, Renae and then those
Oh.
people over there.
11.
Oh,
Those people, the giblets. Come on.
The giblets. And a 12?
And 12, yeah.
So all of you, this is how your daddies met.
Oh.
All of you joined Aurelius in the campaign against the Suebi. Roll on the Battle of Lugo
Okay.
table.
Battle of Lugo.
Am I doing this one too?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. D20?
Mhm.
9.
Okay, you survived. Roll a d6 for glory.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man.
1.
1. We survived. It
You
was
got
mentioned.
60
Yeah.
glory.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
not bad, man.
And Renee, how'd you do?
Uh,
What is that, a 12?
again.
Okay, survived, so roll a d6 for glory.
Okay.
Also a 1. So 60 glory for you as well.
Okay.
And what's the battle called?
Lugo. This is Romans, Aquitanians, and Bretons versus Suebi.
You said 60, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, 461. Vortimer re-energizes the British against the Saxons, and in a series of brilliant maneuvers, forces the Saxons back.
Wow.
Saxons are brought to battle at Stonar, where they flee in their ships, but Vortimer is ready with ships of his own.
Wow.
The Saxons retreat to Thanet. Further north, the Brigantes, the Parisi, and the northern Britons join Vortimer in his rebellion and attack Nohaut and Deira.
Yeah.
Vortimer
That's
is
coming.
crowned King of Logris by the rebels, replacing Vortigern, and makes his seat in Cambridge. Some of the Jagent Picts go to fight as well.
Cool. 8.
9.
Let's see, as a dissident, you get a plus 10 to that, so that makes it 19.
Oh, yeah.
Joined Vortimer in the Battle of Stonar, henceforth known as a rebel. Gone from dissident to rebel.
Wow.
Roll a d20 for the Battle of Stonar.
20.
Oh,
Wow.
go.
Defeated a Saxon berserker.
Oh!
Gain 100 glory.
Yeah, wow.
And make a roll on table 1.13, gifts, rewards, and loot.
Yay!
Also roll a d3 for me.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
so D3 is a 2.
260. So you also gained 120 from the battle itself.
Damn, so it's 220.
Yeah, 220.
Nice.
And a d20 roll for the gifts, rewards, and loot.
16.
An engraved golden ring worth 2 libra.
Ooh. Wow.
It's
Yeah.
pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
And in Brittany, 461, on his return to Italy, Emperor Majorian is deposed and killed by Ricimer, who then installs Libius Severus as a new emperor. Only those inside Italy recognize his title. Aegidius rebels against Ricimer and Emperor Severus. Again, Ostrogoths invade Illyricum this year. Aegidius of Soissons visits Brittany to meet with its leaders to ensure they will bring him back against the usurper Severus if necessary. No, they will back him against the usurper Severus if necessary. King Budek, Prince Aurelius, and King Reothimus agree to ally with Aegidius. Okay. D20. 8. Served garrison duty, 10 glory.
Boy.
Damn it.
11 same.
Okay.
What was that, 10?
10 glory. Year 462. The rebel Britons claim that the rule of King Vortigern has proved unwise and very
Really?
oppressive in Logris,
No, you think.
often favoring his Saxon mercenaries and in-laws over his lawful subjects.
Wow, reality sets in. 20
Vortimer's
years
rebellion
later.
started-
20 years later.
Vortimer's rebellion
Gomorrah.
started
Yeah.
last year continues. The rebels
So
win the
weird.
day, driving the Saxons out of Kent and back to Thanet. Vortimer claims his father's crown, but he dies. Rumor says he was poisoned by his stepmother Rowena.
Oh,
Giants walk
She's
the
just as
land.
evil.
Some fight the giants while others go to war. Alright, Jade, you get a plus 20 to this roll.
Oh,
Whoa.
Wow.
35.
Yeah.
Preview of your future combat rolls.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Joined Vortimer and fought at the Battle of Ebbsfleet. Roll on the next page.
20.
Alright. 20. Wow, 20.
Yeah, not 20.
Okay.
Let's get him out now.
Okay,
This is at
defeated.
the Battle
You
of what?
defeated another goddamn Saxon berserker.
Oh!
That's a rough
100
The
deal.
Berserker Killer.
Apparent berserker killer, absolutely.
Wow.
What battle was this?
This was the Battle of Ebbsfleet. That's Ebbsfleet.
Okay.
All one word. Also roll a d6 for your glory.
3.
That would be 180. Plus the
Total.
100 from the berserker.
Okay.
And then roll a d20 to see if you gain a passion.
1.
No, you do not. And roll again for loot off this berserker.
14.
A silver dining set for 2. Feels like the price is right.
Yeah.
Worth 6 libra.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
Ross Simons presents.
I'm sorry, how much Libra?
6 libra.
You didn't need that 1,000 from before. I mean,
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Alright.
Wow.
That bloodline's good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sturdy.
That's per usual though, right?
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is typical.
Are we surprised?
No,
No.
we're not.
No.
I have to
No.
say. At all.
Nope.
I like to say this is the maiden voyage of these dice. So.
Well, all right.
It's quite good.
All right.
Yeah.
And in Brittany, Aquitaine, although friendly along the common border, campaigns against Soissons. Even without the defensive alliance concluded last year, Kings Budek and Reothimus realize that if Soissons falls, Brittany will be next. They muster an army led by Prince Aurelius and King Reothimus to go and help Soissons stop Aquitaine's expansion. High King Vortigern's oppressive rule and ill-advised policies of favoring his Saxon mercenaries and in-laws over his lawful subjects lead to open rebellion by Vortimer, Vortigern's Kimric son.
You think?
The rebels are victorious, driving Saxons out of Kent and back to Thanet.
That's right.
Vortimer claims his father's crown, but dies suddenly.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
say.
there's poison on the crown. So I'm gonna roll it up, Jen.
Oh.
It's here.
And you are going to roll a +5 since you decided to settle in this kingdom of Dumnanier.
8.
8 total?
Yay, total.
Okay. Served garrison duty, saw some combat, gained 10 glory.
Sucks.
Do I roll also or no?
Oh, yes.
Dissidents.
Yeah.
That's a 9.
Fought at the Siege of Arles.
Oh.
Alright,
What
so
the-
roll again for the Siege of Arles.
Okay. Let's see. Was that? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that a 15?
That's 5.
A 5.
Or 15.
Don't ask her.
Don't ask
Oh,
me.
yeah.
25. Yeah.
Understand symbols.
Alright, well, you survived either way. 5 or 15, you survived. Roll a d6 to see how much glory you got.
Alright. 3.
3, 90, 180.
180?
Yep.
Wow.
I know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
463. It's a decision year for everybody.
Right.
Back in Cornwall, ostensibly to bring peace to all sides, Vortigern and Hengest call a council of all combatants to meet at Mount Ambrius for a feast of peace,
No.
seeking reconciliation.
This isn't it.
Seeking reconciliation.
No.
Almost all British knights attend.
No, we don't.
No.
Surprising to all. No, this is only for Jade. Surprising to all, the Jagant-picked leaders also attend.
What?
The Saxons prove their worth
have a
through
county.
great treachery, though, and the majority of the nobles of Britain, some 300, are slain in the Night of Long Knives.
See, this is the night of long knives.
Yeah.
Yep.
The king... I knew it! I knew it!
Fucking told you.
The king...
It literally adds up to 13.
Yeah.
The king of...
463.
Oh.
If only you'd had a witch to point that out.
Yep.
The king of Cornwall...
No one listens to us.
That's true.
The king of Cornwall, Cornovii, dies with the other nobles at the Night of Long Knives.
Yeah, it's
His
too
will
bad.
specifically states that his kingdom is divided between his two sons. The elder, Isgaran, Totnes, Tintagel, and Ascalon, becomes the king of Cornwall, and the younger, Meliodas, Lyonesse, becomes the king of Lyonesse, subservient to his elder brother. King Meliodas' grandson, also named Meliodas, becomes a famous knight in King Uther's court. With the British people, in the 480s, with the British people now without leaders, the Saxons feel free to plunder/raid without fear of reprisals.
Yep.
However, the Picts are experts in becoming one with the forest and
Yes.
ambushing the Saxons instead.
Nice.
Let's see. So, yep. Go ahead, Jade. Roll this with a plus 10.
27.
Stayed behind to guard the women and children. So you were not killed at the Night of Long Knives.
Damn.
Nice.
Strategic.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And honorable.
Yeah, somebody needs to.
Well, you know, betrayed before, betrayed forever.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. So, let's see. Do we roll? Long Knives. Okay, I see. Passion 463 Fathers. As a result of the Saxon perfidy, gain passion hate Saxons
All of
of
us, or
3D of
just-
just for Jade
oh, okay.
of 3d6. Yep.
6.
Okay.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Saxon.
in Brittany. To bring an end to the bloodshed, High King Vortigern and King Hengest call for all British nobles to meet at a feast of peace on Salisbury Plain. Through treachery, the Saxons kill over 300 of the ruling nobility in the Night of Long Knives. Saxons then seize the High King as their prisoner.
Yeah.
Having rendered the British people effectively leaderless, Saxons freely plunder and raid where they will. Even Brittany's coasts are not safe from the ravages of these barbarians. King of Cornwall dies with other nobles, and so things are split up as stated before. With the Western Roman Empire fatally weakened by internal bickering, civil war, and general chaos, Aquitaine feels the time is ripe to expand its borders even further. The king decides to move further north into Gaul. They meet a coalition of Roman, Franks, and Bretons at the Battle of Orleans. Prince Aurelius joins the battle. A new wave of British immigrants flock to Brittany's shores. Many remember Constantine's sons and beseech Prince Aurelius to save Britain from the Saxon hordes and to reclaim his birthright.
Yes, we're beseeching.
All right, so let's get rolls from the
You just did.
Ghibellines.
Oh.
And you.
Ghibellines.
And me.
11.
An 11.
What do you got?
11.
All right.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna say.
Nice,
Apparently
nice.
our families have intermarried by
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving is one.
See.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right.
Bought a house in Six Subdivision.
Yeah.
We're the real one heart.
Right.
Oh, brother.
All right, so the Aquitanians push northward to the Loire River, While crossing the Loire River, the army is surprised by the Romans under Aegidius and his allies.
No!
King Childeric I with his Franks and the Bretons under Aurelius and Riothamus roll on the Battle of Orleans below.
Oh.
Okay, so, yeah, both of your fathers fought at Orleans, so let's get some rolls.
Let me just write that down.
What do you have to roll?
Yeah, what
D20?
D20?
Yes, D20.
Go for it.
All right. 11.
Ah,
Huh.
what do you got there?
Not an 11.
Oh, Jesus!
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 Is that a 1 or a 7? That's a 1.
That's right.
Okay, so your father died gloriously in battle.
Oh, Padre!
No.
He bit it.
Yeah, he did. Salut,
Actually,
mon père.
no, he didn't.
No,
Oh!
he didn't?
You're not born yet.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Are you
That
sure
kid
about
died,
that?
but it's 463. Would
You-
he have waited that long to have a
Yeah.
child?
Well,
Exactly.
I know. It's
No, come
interesting.
on now.
Or maybe just
When
all the
were
other
we
ones
born?
didn't make it.
Well, if we're starting in 480 and we're 14, we would have been born in 466.
Oh, all right.
So 3 years
So yeah,
off.
you're right.
Technically, you're
can't-
three
Yeah,
more
sure,
years.
Unless
That's
your
fine.
dad
That's
wasn't your
fine.
real dad.
No. It has to be provable at least.
It's our dad. That's
Oh.
Oh.
Secret
Ooh, I like
brothers.
it. Very biblical.
Your secret giblet.
Secret giblet.
Giblet.
All right, yeah, re-roll that.
Oh, but
Okay.
Wow.
that would have been fun.
It would have been a secret giblet.
7.
7, and you guys got 7 as well. Right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Oh, we got 11.
11.
11.
Oh, okay.
All right, everybody survived. Roll a d6 for glory.
Okay.
Better roll
Want me to roll it?
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
All right. If I roll a 1 again on
No,
this.
we don't
Just roll it.
2.
Okay.
Hey,
Better
that's
than one.
100%
And that's
improvement.
Yeah,
a 3.
3.
Okay, so you got 180, and you guys got
3.
120?
120. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then also, any exiles from Britain may generate their hate Saxons passion at this point. 3d6.
Okay.
Pap. I'll
That's
do
us.
it.
Wait, are we sharing it?
It's-
Because
yeah,
it's Papa.
it's
Yeah.
Pops, yeah.
Pops, yep.
Not my dad.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, 'cause
10.
you're not an exile.
Yeah.
10.
10. All right, you got it.
Hate Sax.
464. Vortigern is
This year
released
so
and
far.
is
What?
released
What?
and retreats to Gomereth.
Oh no.
He starts building the impregnable Tower of Ganneru. Unfortunately, the tower collapses each night, so the workers have to start over each morning.
Okay.
Vortigern
Wow.
consults with the wise men from all over, including visiting the Jagant Picts. They tell him he must sprinkle the blood of a fatherless youth on the foundation stones.
Orphan.
The search for such a youth begins.
Part of an orphan.
No, fatherless. A youth
Oh, a
without a father.
bastard.
Oh.
A bastard, sorry.
Something.
It was
Saxons-
born somehow. It's
Jesus.
still an orphan.
No human father.
No, it's just
Something
his
like
father.
that too.
Oh.
Exactly. Mm.
A seal for a father?
There it is! That's what it is!
It's the white
magic
seal.
The Saxons send an army to claim Exeter. The Picts ambush and bleed the Saxons as they march through Jagant, but the army is too big for the Picts to stop.
Oh yeah.
The Cornovii refuse to give up Exeter and instead fight the Saxons. However, they lose the battle and are besieged. Okay, so let's get a roll, Jade.
Eat it, Cornovia.
That's
Right.
right.
Seriously.
Vortigern's troops arrive and seek the youth.
Oh.
All right, so you are a rebel. So you and your friends kill the soldiers of the hated Vortigern, gain 30 glory.
Oh my god, cool.
We're looking for a fatherless youth. Fatherless this!
Black.
We'll make your kids fatherless. How about that?
We got all we need.
Yeah.
Look to your homes.
Yay!
Oh, nice.
It is good.
All right, so then for the giblets, we've got and
The
Giblets.
in Britain, High King Vortigern escapes and retreats to Gomereth. The Cornovii refuse to give up Exeter and instead fight the Saxons. Meanwhile, the kings in Brittany find themselves arranging marriages for several of the British refugee knights. Unfortunately, heiresses with manors are not abundant. The Breton lords introduce the idea of giving lands to knights who do not have manors of their own. In return for that, the knights' service and fealty to the lords. This will become known as vassalage.
Yeah.
Aegidius dies en route to a peace conference and his son, Syagrius,
Syagrius.
Oh,
becomes the ruler of Soissons. All these ghosts from the past.
Yeah.
No,
Dun,
it's
dun,
not.
dun.
With Aegidius out of it's like, oh, that's who he was. With Aegidius out of the way, Theodoric II launches a new campaign on the Loire River at Angers.
He should have
However,
known, witnessing his dad getting killed like on the road, that he shouldn't trust a bunch of
That's
assholes
true.
to go hunting with.
however, the Romans and their Frankish and Breton allies are ready for them. Okay, let's get some rolls for our Bretons here.
1.
A 1?
One.
1.
Oh my god.
That's
Is
right.
it bad?
Well, we can't die yet.
You
So.
Maybe
can't
like
die
adopt
yet.
a cat
Yeah.
or something.
Perfect time to roll. Or adopt a cat.
Well, actually, yes.
What do you got?
Normally that would be a death, but anyway, you get a +5. We're going to ignore the natural one being a death
Oh.
because you can't die yet.
Can I
so
re-roll?
it's just garrison duty. Saw some combat. Gain 15
No,
glory.
I just want to
Fine.
re-roll.
No, it's too late.
And
Yeah.
Renee,
Vibe.
It's alright, we'll do better next year.
garrison duty. No
Garrison duty. No glory.
glory. No glory.
Yeah, oh, well,
I should have rolled a 1.
I don't feel as bad now. Feeling okay?
465.
Jake,
Saxons
is
march
finally
back
born.
and forth across Britain,
No,
extracting
we are
tribute
not.
and plunder. Many more Britons flee the land. The youthful
He's not
Merlin
fucking
makes
his
his
wife,
appearance
and
and
that's the
begins his career by prophecy.
Ew.
Exeter is taken and sacked by a Saxon army led by Prince Esk of Kent. King Isgaran of Cornwall dies in the sack of the city. His son, Prince Idris, flees to his uncle, King Meliodas of Lyonesse.
Cool.
All right.
That's cool.
Jade.
Sounds like a good flee your uncle move.
Exactly.
Ambushed some Saxon troops as they were taking supplies to the besiegers of Exeter. Gained 20 glory.
I want to play Jade's game.
I know. Can I play in that one?
That's the game for me.
That
That's
Meanwhile,
fun.
in Brittany,
Garrison duty.
Yeah.
Garrison duty. Garrison duty.
Sit on
Garrison
your
duty.
ass.
You've got garrison duty. You've got garrison duty.
no, this
I can't
is.
eat all my garrison duty.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Get us
Okay.
to
Can
the
I just take
city.
the lump sum?
Yeah, right. I can't pay the taxes on this.
Aurelius Ambrosius, having heard the pleas of his father's countrymen, and together with the aid of his brother and his Breton cousins, plans in earnest to return to Britain in force. Riothamus and Gorlois eagerly offer their support.
Okay.
Aurelius's agents start traveling to other lands to plead his case and the need for a fleet.
Okay.
Prince Aurelius goes to Toulouse personally to hire mercenaries and ships for his invasion of Britain, to reclaim the high kingship of Britain that belonged to his father and his older brother before the usurper Vortigern.
Yeah.
Gorlois, Aurelius's trusted companion, sails to port towns in northern Gaul to seek help from Syagrius of Soissons and possibly the Franks, organizing a fleet for the next year. Alas, Gorlois and his ship, with all aboard, are thought lost in a storm on the British Sea.
Well,
It's the seal.
it
In
is.
Britain,
know.
It's back.
in Britain, Exeter is taken and sacked by a Saxon army led by Prince Esk. King Isgaran of Totnes dies in the sack of the city. His son, Prince Idris, flees to his uncle, King Meliodas of
Okay. Oh,
Lyonesse.
yeah, okay. All right, yeah. This for another.
Let's get some rolls!
Jen, you roll it.
All right, here we
Do
go.
it, Jen.
Something good.
14.
All right.
Ooh. 26.
All right. Have you been handpicked to be with Aurelius before or fought alongside Gorlois or Aurelius?
I don't think so.
Battle
We
of
were
Orleans.
in.
in
we
Orleans.
fought off the Aquitanians with Soissons.
Yeah.
So you did fight alongside.
Yeah, we were in the Battle of Orleans.
Okay.
What I'm saying there.
Yeah.
That's
what
true.
Jen was saying.
All
Sorry.
right. So we got some people here. Yeah, I guess everyone gets to add +10 then, if you all.
24.
24.
24 and
Oh, 6.
so
You're
16.
Plus 10?
No, 6. Yeah.
16?
So all of you, or both of your fathers, traveled with Aurelius to Toulouse to hire mercenaries.
We gotta be
Cool.
super charming, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's his app?
Exactly. We gotta
I know.
be nice to these people.
I know.
What's
All
our
right.
dad's app?
It's a matter of
Roll it up.
extreme
We don't know.
importance.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. No, we gotta know.
Yeah.
What?
David, what's the app roll?
Dad's
Dad's
app?
app. Yes.
Was-
What's Dad's
What's
app?
the standard
What's
app roll?
Dad's-
How do we obtain app rolls?
We
This
need
is
to know
key.
this. We need to know this.
I
This
can't
is
go
goes
much
well.
like-
I can't
Thinking
believe
his
we've gone
world.
this long.
I
I
know.
know.
It's actually pretty shocking.
Gotta
It
roll
is.
for dad and grandpa.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I asked like in my head, but
Well, yeah, I know,
Did I
right?
say
Still
that
waiting
out
on the
loud,
answer.
or-
Yeah.
Still waiting.
All right.
Been together for 7 years. We should be able to read each other's minds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, it's a hive mind.
that makes more sense actually.
Yeah, it does.
3d6 plus 1.
3d6
Roll it up.
plus
Come on, man.
Which of us
We
do
tried.
six?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
All
All right.
Maybe you?
Yeah. No. We'll all roll a
We're all
d6.
rolling one? All right.
3.
3.
4.
So that's a 10,
10
11.
plus 11.
Nah.
Oh, wow. That's not great.
No.
That's, that'd be a 5.
Wouldn't you get a bonus though for being?
No,
No.
sadly, no.
Can I reroll
They're
that?
known to be very handsome and attractive.
Well,
which is
her
why
character can be handsome and attractive,
But
but your
not-
dad
not
sure as hell wasn't.
Shall we also do Grandpa?
He was,
Yeah,
he
let's
was
do that.
scarred like crazy.
Three,
5.
4,
3, 5, 4.
7.
Oh, this is Grandpa?
Grandpa.
12.
Yeah.
Okay.
13.
13. So Grandpa was more handsome.
Okay, that's better.
That's
Still
better.
not great.
No.
12,
not
13.
Not
Hot
ideal.
stuff.
No.
Yeah.
It's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
Oh my god,
Wow.
Grandpa was an 18.
Oh!
Wow.
You're 18?
My
Of
grandfather was.
course.
Oh, of course he was.
Damn.
Dad was nap 13.
Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah, but he's a berserker killer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
that-
adds a
that's
hotness in and of
It
itself.
does.
Extremely
It
attractive.
does.
Appealing. There's an
very
appeal there.
appealing.
Yeah. There is.
What?
There is.
Good
All right.
Grandpa.
We'll have
I
blood
should have
really
saved
for the
that
skin.
apple for myself.
You should have. All right, so this is the year 466. This is the year you all are born. All your characters are born.
Thank God.
Now our dads can die, right?
Now your dads can start dying.
Alright.
Awesome.
Really?
For the love of God.
Awesome.
So in
We're making
Cornwall.
our characters next session, technically.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
What did
alright.
we do last year? What I...
Travel to Toulouse
Oh,
to
to mercenary.
recruit
Yeah, mercenary.
mercenaries.
Yeah.
What, did we get any glory?
Did we get glory for that?
Ooh.
Plus 10, right?
Where were we? 464.
Yes,
On
465.
that. You got no glory for that.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought we. Oh,
glory
never
for
mind.
that.
Well,
Okay,
you know
fine.
what? The food alone was worth the trip.
I agree. Yeah, no, it makes it worth it. It's all good.
Okay.
That was the same for everyone, right?
Same for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, you all traveled to
So
So
Toulouse.
we've
No
been
glory.
conceived and we're being born.
You're being born.
This
Let's
year.
see. Let's see where you're being born, because this is a decision year for everybody.
Ooh, yay.
So in Cornwall, Aurelius Ambrosius, son of former King Constantine and brother of Constans, lands in Totnes with an army from Brittany and elsewhere. He carries a great banner with a red dragon on it. With him and returning home are Riothamus, king of Dumnonia, and Gorlois, a proven and fearsome Dumnonii warlord.
Yeah.
A Saxon army led by Prince Esk of Kent tries to block his way to Logris at Exeter, but the Saxons are defeated and flee back to Kent. With the news of Aurelius' landing and subsequent victory sweeping all across the land, discontented nobles muster their armies and join Aurelius's. Whether your family fled as part of Vortigern's oppression, were native to Brittany, his adopted homeland, or just wish to have joined the war against Vortigern with your liege's permission, you have taken a solemn vow to throw down the usurper Vortigern.
Hell yeah.
Aurelius
Hell
then
yeah.
marches across Cornwall and southwestern Logris, gathering supporters to his banner and subduing Vortigern loyalists in minor battles. Eldal of Glevum, the hero of the Knight of the Long Knives, pledges his allegiance to Aurelius and joins in subduing Cernster, which had stayed loyal to Vortigern. Gorlois excels in these battles, providing the inspiration to those around him.
Nice.
The Jagant Picts are split over whom they should support, mostly along tribal lines. One tribe say they should follow Vortigern. It was he who brought them to this fertile land. Those assholes.
There's always those people,
wrong with
right?
them?
Yeah.
Fear. It's fear.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
And we know their arguments already.
Yeah, yeah.
And blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
I hate them.
Don't listen
Okay,
to that.
the discussion
weak.
becomes an
Yeah.
argument. Then, in the heat of the moment, a fist is thrown, then a dagger drawn.
Oh!
Soon, the entire landscape is swarming with a skirmish, which erupts into a civil war amongst the Picts.
Wow.
Wow, that's how it starts.
The pro-Vortigern faction eventually wins the day, and the pro-Aurelius tribe flees to Aurelius, falls on their knees, and beseeches him to accept them as loyal servants.
Oh.
That would be your dad.
Yep.
Aurelius accepts them into his army, but as the main mission is to eliminate Vortigern and the Saxons, he simply marches through Jagant rather than spending time and men to root out the pro-Vortigern Picts.
Huh.
Now, before we roll, we're going to see that view from Brittany.
Right.
Aurelius Ambrosius, son of the former High King Constantine, brother of High King Constans, collects his fleet from other locations. To the surprise of all, Gorlois returns and astonishes Aurelius, because remember he'd gone missing.
Yeah.
Astonishes Aurelius with ships, the likes of which had never been seen before,
Really?
sailing effortlessly, even against the waves. It takes some time to load all the troops, and one of the last items loaded on Aurelius' personal ship is a long rectangular box over 20 feet in length. The fleet crosses the British Sea from Brittany and lands at Totnes, Cornwall, with an army of Bretons, and mercenaries from Aquitaine and other locations. There, Aurelius brings out the box, and from it unfurls a glorious battle standard, which looks like a magnificent red dragon in flight as it flutters in the wind.
Nice.
Fathers should join the March of Aurelius. Go to page 239. Start rolling there, beginning with the year 466. Before we do that, we'll go back to Cornwall. Roll that dice.
Oh, that dice.
19.
Plus 10 is 29.
Phenomenal.
Fought in the Civil War among the Picts. Roll next column. You've chosen your pro-Aurelius stance already. Okay, so let's find out what you did in Civil War amongst the Picts first.
20.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I am impressed. Let's see. Survived. If pro-Aurelius, see below. All right, roll a d6 for glory.
2.
15 glory from the fight. The survivors of the pro-Aurelius tribe flee to Aurelius, who promises to restore them in Jagant after Vortigern is dealt with. In return for their allegiance, Aurelius assigns Gorlois to arrange sustenance and shelter for your families and lead the warriors during the march. Go to the march of Aurelius Ambrosius and roll, starting on table year 467. Okay, so everyone's going to be doing this. So,
Yeah, it's your turn.
30.
Okay, all right.
Alright. 6.
So, the key to understanding what Britain becomes is the invasion of Aurelius Ambrosius from Brittany and what it means to Vortigern and his version of Britain. Second son of Constantine, heir to the throne of Britain, he came to avenge the betrayal of his father and older brother. Many Britons, those who had fled to Brittany to escape Vortigern's tyranny, and those still at home harboring great grudges and hates, flocked to his banner.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a nice banner.
Yeah, it's very
It's
nice.
a wonderful banner.
It's very lovely, the likes of which have never been seen before.
That's
Indeed.
true. Yeah.
True.
So, we're going to do 466 for those of you who are marching,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
We got you, right, Renae, for 466. Did you roll?
I don't think
No.
so.
Oh, okay. Please roll.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. Everybody's father's is going. Okay,
Yes.
that's fine. That's fine. Never mind. Just want to
Oh,
make
we
sure I didn't skip
rolled
anybody.
over.
You haven't rolled yet, yes.
Oh, we haven't
All right.
rolled. Okay.
Aurelius
Read it.
Ambrosius, son of the former king Constantine and brother of Constans, lands in Totnes with an army from Brittany and elsewhere. Some 10,000 people, horses, and their equipment arrive, although only 3,000 of them are knights. From his ship, Aurelius unfurls a great banner with a red dragon on it. Saxon army led by Prince Esk of Kent. We've heard this before. Aurelius then marches. Okay, so let's find out what happened on the march. If joining the march and not Cornish, Brittany native, exiled British or Aquitaine, roll
that's
with
awesome.
a plus 20.
We want to march.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're joining the march, right?
Okay, so y'all
Yeah.
roll
6.
6 and
Oh. That's a 19.
okay. All of you fought at the Battle of Exeter.
Hey.
Okay.
Roll again.
20.
Wow.
Yay!
Okay, so now it's your father's turn to defeat a Saxon berserker.
Yay! Finally.
And a 7
Yeah.
survived.
Survived.
Roll d6 for battle glory.
Roll it up.
All of us? Or?
Yeah.
4.
Nice.
4.
4 is 180, 360.
Yes.
Plus 100 for defeating the Saxon.
460.
460.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Wow. Terrific.
Nice.
And Renae?
So 3.
3 is, let's see.
I don't know what's
Can you drive home? Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah. All right.
Hold
Trouble
on.
with the speed limit signs, though.
It's gibberish.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you said a 3, was it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 130. That's 260 for you.
Okay.
And then we'll need rolls from the giblets, father,
Oh, for the gift?
for the gift and also the passion. Roll a d20 to see if you generate a passion.
Okay, so for the gift,
Yeah.
I've got a 2.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. Fruit roll up wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
still worth a
gilded.
Libra.
It's gilded somehow.
Clean.
Yeah.
You found a fruit by the foot, but it's endless. So
Oh wow.
We shall feast.
then tonight we shall feast.
On at least 8 feet of fruit.
How many feet of fruit do you want? All right. roll a d20.
You eat at one
Oh,
end, I'll
for,
eat the other.
passion.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. What did you roll for
For
the?
the gift was 2.
2.
Oh, that's right. Okay, your father has a decorated weapon, your choice, worth 2 libra.
Our choice.
Your choice of weapon. You got it off a Saxon berserker.
What do
so
they have?
Probably an axe.
Yeah.
Bronze axe.
Like a two-handed axe?
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll see who gets that.
Yeah.
You can fight over that.
Yeah.
And then, roll for the
Giant
passion, a d20, please.
16.
That is, you gain a passion of hate Saxons. Do you already have one?
We already have one.
Alright, so roll to see if this one's higher. 2d6 plus 6.
2d6 plus
Do it,
6.
man. Make it higher than 10.
Yeah, that's 16.
Yes! Fuck
Yeah,
those
that sounds-
Saxons.
That
Sounds
works.
right.
That
Yeah.
works.
Oh.
That's stuff.
Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah,
Right into the
exactly.
veins.
Loving it.
All right.
Love it. Yeah. Just strapped to my veins.
All right. So the march continues. Let's see here.
It's from 467.
467. So everyone's going to roll on this.
Was I supposed to make a second roll though for?
No, because you were fighting the Civil War that year.
Okay.
So then now you're going to join the march. in
Okay, so
467.
now okay.
Yeah. So now everyone's rolling 467. Aurelius Ambrosius and his army pursue Vortigern and besiege him in his new castle at Mount Snowdon, where his remaining loyalists gather.
Okay.
Others
Right.
call this the Battle of Ganneru. Regardless of what it is called, a battle ensues. The besiegers use fire against the fortifications. Once the fire takes hold, it goes on blazing until it burns up the tower and Vortigern with it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Cool.
That's
He
the way to
deserves
go.
that
That's the
for
way to
sure.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, this was
Nice.
only referred to in passing, but Merlin was the fatherless youth that Vortigern found
Okay.
because he was born of a nun and a demon, and so
Oh, that whole
Well,
thing.
like
Oh, sure.
you do.
You know.
and so he was still a boy, but he was brought to the tower, and he said, "There's two
Oh, that's
dragons
right,
who are
yes.
fighting under this tower. One is a white dragon, and one is a red dragon. You just have to release them."
Right.
And they flew off into the air.
It's a swamp. They
And
built
then the
it.
tower stayed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But did he stay in his service after that?
Oh,
Or
no.
as prisoner or
No,
he ran away?
he's just
Okay.
like, I'm a freaky deaky kid.
Yeah, bye.
Deal with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Off I go.
Merlin out.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.
He activated his little scooter shoes, whatever those are called.
That's right.
I believe
He
you
just
referred
rolled
to
off.
the
Yes.
Yes, really.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the wheel is just like 1 foot up.
Yeah, just one foot goes up and you
Yeah, just
goes off. And you're like, what kind of sorcery is that?
I can see it.
I'm like really skinny.
Yeah, this little renty kid.
Yeah.
Tattered cape flying behind him.
But,
Probably
like-
have migraines or something.
I know, probably.
All right.
Alright, so 16.
16.
For the giblets.
Okay, Siege of Carleon. 16. Survived. Roll on continuing battles. Jade.
Survive.
2.
Died in battle. Ouch.
5?
Oh.
17. Survived. Roll on continuing battles.
A 5.
Everybody roll a d6
Everybody?
for well, not everybody.
All right.
But, the three fathers roll a d6 for glory. And that.
Yeah.
3.
But,
3 is
1.
45. 15.
but what about
6.
rolling on the other battle things?
6. We'll get to that.
Okay.
All right.
6 is 15 times 6. That's
90.
90. 90 for you. Wow, you distinguished yourself.
Yay.
That's cool.
Everybody roll a d20 to see if you developed a hatred of Cambrians.
Oh. 19.
Whoa.
Oh,
Same.
yeah.
Yeah.
19. You also rolled 19?
Yeah.
Everybody gets a hate Cambrian
Yay.
tribesmen. Cambrian tribesmen specifically.
Oh,
Of
tribes.
2d6 plus 6.
Oh, yeah.
We would have gotten rid of the tyrant once and for all if all of
13.
his Kimri allies and traitorous barbarians had not arrived.
13.
13, alright.
For us. And then I rolled a 5 on that other battle table, so.
Okay,
Tribesmen.
Okay.
2 6 plus 6, right?
Yep.
Okay, so 8, 14.
14. Alright.
Siege of, what was the siege of?
Siege of
Carleon.
Carleon.
Oh, again?
Yep.
Yeah, we're still
Yeah,
sieging.
second Siege of Carleon.
Okay.
And then continuing battles. You said you rolled a what?
5.
5. Gained 25 glory in the fighting. And then Renae, let's get a roll from you
Okay,
as
so
well.
that's,
40.
yeah, 40
Whoa!
total.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Gained 200 glory.
Whoa!
And did something notable during the battle that was
Whoa.
witnessed.
Oh,
Wow.
exciting.
This can include capturing the baggage train, an enemy banner, defeating a chieftain in a duel, and so on.
Oh, yes!
Heck
1-on-1 with the chieftain.
Nice.
Yes.
Right.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. 468. So Jade's
come.
father is dead.
Oh, all right.
What was my glory again? I'm sorry.
Oh, 200.
200 is high.
Yeah. Ow.
So 468 for the two surviving fathers. Aurelius Ambrosius and his army pursue Vortigern and besiege him in his new castle on Mount
I
Snowdon.
thought he died in the fire.
Once fire breaks out, it goes on blazing, burns up the tower, and Vortigern with it.
Right.
His
Right,
army
that was last year.
scatters.
I thought that was last year.
Yeah, that was 467.
Right.
right.
So why
Uh-huh.
is this happening again?
Apparently he escaped after all.
What?
He
What?
escaped and came back.
That's
No!
outrageous.
This is Dallas.
Right, yeah. He escaped, he came back to the exact same tower he burned to death in and was actually burned to
And
death.
then-
Oh,
Again.
I see.
Again.
This is a. I remember. This is some errata. Yeah, this is. They've repeated the paragraph.
All right.
Ah,
Sorry,
okay.
skipping
Okay.
that.
Okay.
All right, those Kimry still loyal to.
We were outraged. Like, we thought he was
Hey,
good.
what the
that
hell? Yeah. Okay.
Kangaroo!
Those Kimry still loyal to Vortigern's line follow Pashent, Vortigern's third son, into exile among the continental Saxons.
Okay.
They intermarry with the Saxons and become the Gevisse tribe. Aurelius Ambrosius summons the Supreme Council and they elect him High King. He takes the title of Pendragon, High Dragon or Head Dragon, derived from his great battle banner. He then reorganizes the Cornovii and Dumnonii into the kingdoms of Lyonesse under King Meliodas the Elder, and Cornwall under King Riothamus. The king of Cornwall also has allegiance to Lyonesse and the kingdoms of Brittany. The remaining Pictish tribe in Jagant is given that land as their own. Aurelius orders and compels the cessation of hostilities between those who wish his governance. After this decree, Aurelius introduces a new concept, vassalage, as his favorites are given great lands for their loyalty and ability. Chief among them Eldal and Gorlois, who are granted the title of Duke.
Cool.
Regardless of what happens this year, if you are still alive, roll to determine if you were at the High King's coronation.
Roll it
All
up,
right.
Jen.
Let's find it out.
Happy.
17.
Yeah.
Nice.
7.
Not present at the coronation.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. +1 per 100 glory gained in earlier battles of the march. +1 per notable deed. Still not present.
Oh, really?
But in 18,
17.
17,
Well, then plus.
Plus
in
glory.
previous battles?
during this march.
Oh, during
Oh,
The
no.
March of Aurelius?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got 460.
460?
At
Yeah.
the, at
That was
the
the
Battle of
Battle of
Exeter?
Exeter.
Battle, yeah.
Was that was part of the march, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the same year as the March of Aurelius.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so 460.
So
So,
plus
5
4.
plus 5?
Plus,
It's 460.
Yeah,
Plus the
plus
20
40.
that we got
40
in
at
the
the
Siege of
Yeah.
Carleon. Or 40 at the Siege of
Yeah.
Carleon. So that's
So that is
500. So
500.
it's plus 5.
and what did you roll?
17.
And then you had a notable deed of killing the Saxon berserker.
Yes.
So that
That's
gets you
true.
just over the 23 and above level.
What do we do?
So you were present at the coronation and after the ceremony presented to High King Aurelius as a knight among knights.
Oh,
Wow.
Gain 100 extra glory in addition to the 100 glory for
wow.
participation for a
200.
total of 200.
Yes.
Night among nights.
Presented.
all right.
Aurelius. We are badass.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Got a lot to live up to.
That's right.
We're just going to do this last year. This is going to wrap up the march.
It's lucky it's the 3
It's
of us.
469.
469.
Piece of us.
Yeah.
Hengist gathers his Saxons and marches from Kent towards Cumbria to join with Octa and Eosa in Eburicum. Aurelius marches with his army and catches up with Hengist. 2 major battles occur. So, you fought at the Battle of Mesbalai. So, go ahead and roll.
16.
Okay.
Survived. Continued to battle Conisborough next page. And
That's 11.
that's an 11. Same. So, both fathers roll d6 to see how much glory you got out of the battle.
4.
4 is 180.
5.
That would be 225.
Damn.
Oh,
That
Nice.
is a big difference.
yeah.
And Battle of Conisborough. Roll again.
14.
Battle of Conspira.
Survived.
Okay.
Cool.
And then glory for that?
15.
1.
Survived as well.
Okay.
1 is 45.
Okay.
2.
That is 90.
225 total for you.
That's 9.
90.
90.
With this final battle and with Hengest's death in the battle, the threat of the Saxons diminishes. Aurelius thanks his foreign allies and British and Cymric subjects for their loyalty and willingness to see the tyrant Vortigern defeated and the rightful king, himself, crowned. He disbands the army back to their homes, rewarding those who deserve it. Roll on the farewell gift table. D20. +1 per 100 glory gained during the march, +1 per notable deed. So that's +5 for you. And then Renae, how much glory have you gotten on this march?
On this one, I've got 225 plus 90.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's 315, and then that's 515.
Wouldn't we add two-
6.
Yeah.
March too. I think
so you're
plus
plus
7.
7.
I think we're
You're
plus 7.
Are we
Yeah.
counting the entire march?
The entire march.
From the
Seven.
Battle of
Okay.
Exeter?
So
Yeah.
it's 9 then.
So
Plus
we're
nine.
adding 5. Yeah, we're adding 9.
9.
All right, here we
plus
go.
9.
So plus 7 for Renae, plus 9.
All right.
Oh, 29.
Wow.
Whoa!
And a 19.
Yes.
Okay, so you
No
got
time for losers.
so you saw Duke Eldal and Duke
That's our
Leroy
family seal.
capture and kill Hengist. So you gain
Whoa.
plus 50 glory.
Okay.
And then you lot were with Duke Eldal and Duke
Yeah.
Gorlois
Yes.
when they captured Hengist, gain 100 glory. All right, and make an additional roll on the loot table. So you get a farewell gift and loot.
Oh my.
This is
Do you
20.
guys want to roll for
You
this
go,
one?
go
Yeah.
for it.
No.
All
Yeah,
right.
go for it.
16.
Is this for the loot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
First
16. You got an engraved golden ring worth 2 libra.
one. Okay.
Alright.
All right, so then the farewell gift.
I got a 15.
15. You caught Aurelius's eye. Given a reward as above, which we'll get to. Join all future battles commanded by Aurelius on any event other than a natural one. As the father is summoned to the muster by name. Gain 25 glory for each muster. Foreign knights are asked to stay in Britain. Interesting.
It is interesting.
That is.
Interesting indeed. Okay, so your reward. Let's see, gain rewards. It's a roll on the loot table. That makes sense.
Roll that loot.
Back to the
Roll
loot
that
table.
loot. Roll that loot. Loot. You get a loot.
An engraved one.
An engraved one.
Worth 2 libra. It's a gilded loot.
All right, so you got a 4.
Yes.
That's a silver armband worth 2 libra.
Oh.
Sexy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's pretty hot.
Pretty snatchy.
Yeah.
And farewell gift.
Oh, we need to get another one?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, we got
Ours
loot,
was,
yeah.
we were like
Which is
straight up
29.
paying.
Oh, 20. Well, no.
We got the golden ring.
You got the
and-
loot, and you get a farewell
and
gift.
we
So
get
yes.
farewell. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
We
yes.
roll
Yes.
again?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright,
Okay.
do a disc.
Yes.
8
8.
But plus.
plus 9? Right?
Yeah,
plus
actually,
17,
yeah.
17.
17. Caught Aurelius's eye.
Oh,
Get,
again.
and given a gift manor.
What?
Oh, yeah!
Oh my god!
Gain 10 extra glory per year. But as it is a gift, the player knight won't inherit it.
What?
Oh.
So cool though.
Yeah, we still get it for
Yeah.
Got it.
And plus we get 10, so it's 335, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well,
yeah.
and an additional 10 for every year your father survives. Which we will
Oh.
wrap up next session as we roll into character
Oh,
creation.
A gift manor.
Can't
man.
we just find out if our papaps lived or died or?
Well, I don't
We
want to
gotta
rush
roll
it
every
because
year.
we're getting
Oh,
into
okay,
like
alright.
the final 10
So, like,
years.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I
Decade.
get it.
Oh my.
Gift manor.
We still got to see young
No.
Luther grow up
I
and
think
you
we
know
can
all
do
that
something
stuff
with
happen.
that.
I
But
can't keep
let's
Yeah.
just summarize
We
really
can
quickly.
start-
So we've got Renee's father. Renee's character's father has been ordered to settle in Cornwall.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Worked
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so Jade's character's father is dead, unfortunately. And then your
badass.
father, and then wait. So Renae, your father's the one who's like summoned by name, right?
Yes.
Like, get me Sir Buff or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
let's call
He's
him
so amazing.
Sir
Sir
Buffalo.
Blaze,
Okay, sure.
which means wolf in Britain.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir Blaze.
Yeah.
And then your father is doing pretty well for himself.
You know
We
he
got
is.
a gift manor, and
You know
also he
really
accompanied
is.
Gorlois and the other dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
And
we
he
were
was
just,
right
we
there.
were just straight up
He's in
there.
Red
We
Among
also
Knights.
caught the Eye of Aurelius. Like
That's
we
right.
were,
Like we are there.
we were all up in.
Okay.
We totally are.
But the gift manor,
I know.
which I think we always hear about, but we've never seen it.
Maybe there's nuns living there now.
Yeah.
You
The old
know?
cabin.
But yeah,
He doesn't let you go there.
he doesn't want us to go there. It's like
service land.
I'm thinking it's that like apartment over the laundromat that Dad goes to.
Yeah,
He
it's
alone.
his man cave.
So,
Yeah.
just a quick question. We
Yeah.
were born in 466.
466.
So, my character was born in Vantai and then brought over.
Yeah.
Oh, did
You,
we
Okay,
find out
okay,
where were we born?
you would have been born. You would have been born in Brittany, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
So because your father was in exile at the time,
right.
but
True.
But your family's
yes,
British.
Yeah.
British to the core.
Yeah.
And
no.
and you're culturally British. You would have been raised because obviously, let's see, you're on the march of Aurelius. Your father's on the march of Aurelius now, so that means he would have been able to return to your Cornish homeland to his gift manor which you probably grew up in, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So you would have gone back to the gift manor in 469. So you all would have been like 3 years old.
Somebody
So,
somebody burnt it down.
You just
I
have
guess,
like the
sorry.
dimmest
Gift manor.
memories.
Somebody burned down the gift manor.
Yeah.
You just have the dimmest memories of Brittany.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember knocking over a candle.
That's all I remember.
This is great. I feel like I'm already getting some ideas about your characters and who they are. And
Cool.
where they're coming
Well,
from.
with the giblets, you can't go wrong. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Sure.
Jade's like, over. I mean, just
already-
performing as normal.
Pretty much, exactly.
Yeah, and then Renae
I'm
like
really,
wild card,
I'm really
like,
interested
Yeah,
to see how
exactly.
your picks is going to turn out.
I
I'm
like
really
it.
excited
Yeah.
about my plot complication.
Yeah, I know. We have to find out what it is.
Oh, you'll find out when I spring it on you.
Does that mean it's gonna be like however many later years later you whip it out?
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like, whoa, why did
Whoa.
fate deal me this hand? You know,
You'll be like, this is why.
it's because your
laughing
grandfather cheated death that one time.
That one time.
I am not sorry.
No.
Never be sorry.
Why should you be?
Also, don't forget to take home apple butter.
I know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Anyway, off to a great start, everybody. Thank
Yay.
you. So we'll do your characters next week, and we'll probably have like an hour just to kind of do a little intro scenario. Yeah. Yeah.
Squire shenanigans.
Squire shenanigans, exactly. So, yeah, we'll finish up last 10 years. That'll take about an hour. Making your characters take about an hour. Oh, and the thing I wanted to tell you all is that your backup characters is going to be the knights that your squires are serving. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do a quick gen of those. But I want everybody to play somebody else's knight.
Yeah.
You get it?
Everybody to play someone
I like
else's
that.
night. Yeah.
So we'll all like shift one to the left.
Shift one to the left, exactly.
And then
Okay.
maybe also, can we generate some more characters? The other ones or
Extra backups.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
really
sure
want
about.
a bitter sorceress.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I'm not sure about
Monster.
next session, but we'll definitely start. We'll start working that in. Because another idea I had, like with player ladies, was as your characters start marrying, you could roll up the wife as a player lady
Yeah.
of another player,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you're
fun.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
to just give you some to give the wife some autonomy, like and personality.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So anyway,
Oh, I love it.
That's good.
we're off and running.
Yeah.
Back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like me. Back on our bullshit.
Indeed. Back on our bullshit for sure.